bit, right? I'm in character. You're fucking this up for me right now. Sexist! You're trying to reject me out of the thing is because I'm a woman, isn't it? Fucking just make a big stink about it. Fucking funny.
How you doing, Eagle?
Very well. Yourself? How are you?
I'm good. I've been in some other hangouts in the girl called Nadia Levette Chambers, and there's like 2 or 3 guys in there that sound like you, because they're from Britain. And I keep thinking it's you. I'll hear them talking. I'm like, God, that sounds a lot like Ego.
Sounds
like
some other account. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like he has like other accounts or something. And I was listening and they're talking, and I'm like, God, that sounds like him.
This is just one of his many sock puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how it is. You know how it is. How you doing, Frozen? What have you been up to?
I've been busy as fuck at work. I've been trying to buckle down and get a lot of shit done in a short amount of time. They're like wickedly impressed with my my ability to perform, apparently.
Boy, you showed your hand now. They're gonna expect it all the time.
They are. But you say that, right? One of the things I had to do on my review is review my own performance, and so the only negative comments in my particular review came from me, and they were basically, one of them was like, I work too fucking hard. I need to actually I need to learn the ability to pull myself away from what I'm doing. I was like, 'cause I get too absorbed into it, and that's how you make mistakes.
Well, most programmers are like that. That's how programmers are. They'll stay up for like 32 hours working on a thing, you know. So
yeah, and they know I got sleeping disorders as well, so they totally agree. They're like, my boss agreed that I work way too hard, and that the other thing was I demanded study time at work. I was like, here's this particular time when I'm usually not doing anything. If I'm doing something, then I won't be studying. I'll be working. But I need to learn a whole bunch of shit for my job, and I have no time to do it in my personal time. And since it is job related, I should be doing it at work. And they're like, oh, we totally agree. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so
have you asked for an appraisal?
On?
Like, you know, you're putting in the man hours, you're doing great work, you should be getting a bonus. She said, listen, nice. Like, you know.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't have the sex change yet, so she can get her own bonus.
Yeah, the patriarchy just fucking like has me whip it out and say, oh, well, you're still one of us. Fucking, here's a big bag of money. All right, it's exactly 33% more than what the.
Uh-oh.
To the letter. Well, however fucking much it was. It fluctuates so fucking much you can never like give it an accurate thing of that because they change the fucking number all the time.
Yeah.
Pick one. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, they're actually they've already discussed compensation as well. They're working on basically on that right now. So I can't go into details of any of that shit for NDC reasons.
Bro. So Shi-Nu, darling, what's happening? What's the conversation on today? Oh, I missed it all.
No. We just went live about 4 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
What's the conversation?
I love to do that to Frozen. She doesn't know that I slip it in there like that.
See, and that was I asked you earlier if you were doing that bullshit because I know sometimes
I sneak up behind her with like a little bit of Vaseline. I kind of like poke my finger in right when she doesn't think about it, you know.
I would say that that's rape, but you have to say no. So
yeah, like, ooh, what was that?
I'll decide tomorrow if it was rape. How about that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know you have a 7-year window, right?
Oh, dude. If you were Bill Cosby, dude, I had like an infinity window. You can just you could accuse his fucking corpse of doing it.
Well, one of the things we're going to talk about is that Mississippi is trying to outlaw premarital sex.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we're going to talk about that I was wondering what you guys might think about is, what do you guys think about this black girl assaulting this white kid at school, saying that he was cultural appropriating because he had dreadlocks, and she was pushing him around, wouldn't let him go, and then claimed that he was touching her and that he wouldn't stop like touching her, and she was saying, don't push me, don't touch me. when she was the one that was grabbing on him and assaulting him, and trying to say that he was cultural appropriating just because he had dreadlocks.
Not understanding anything about like history or shit like that, or
Yeah.
or the fact that she's culturally appropriating the English language from the like fucking
Well
English
said. Well said.
who
Well
nicked it
said.
from other people. I was like, all right,
Well
I was like, you can have your nasty fucking dreadlocks back, right? And we're taking back all our fucking white people shit, right? And you can
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
All of our
how do you
straight
like
hair,
that?
all of our
Well,
straight blonde hair with your fucking weaves. You know, all of you got to go back to having your nappy hair because for some reason you want to think that having straight hair is really cool, but that's not a cultural appropriation because
well,
white people are in the patriarchy and they're above everyone else. So obviously you can't do. That's how they like to do. They're like, well, we can't cultural appropriate from white people because they're the ones in control. Therefore, you can't cultural appropriate those people. And it's like,
Nice rationalization there.
exactly. It's like, what? Really?
It's like,
So
I'm
the
calling
fact
my
that you're
Asian
wearing a
buddy.
bunch of white people clothes and you have straight hair and your hair's blonde even though you're black and you've got blue contacts to make your eyes look blue and you've got like skin lightening so you're trying to look more like a white person, like Michael Jackson. You know,
exactly.
because you're
Straight
doing all that. That's not cultural appropriation. You know, you're listening to Justin Bieber. You know, none of that's cultural appropriation. But if we listen to Salt and Pepper and have dreadlocks and start saying, "Yo, baby, what's up?" that all of a sudden is cultural appropriation.
What I'm gonna do is call up all my Asian friends and be like, make sure that you don't let fucking black people culturally appropriate your rice, right? You can't let them fucking take that shit from you. That's your rice, right? I'm not even allowed to have any, right? Because it's yours. I'm stealing it from you by eating it.
Well, how dare you go to a Chinese restaurant, right?
Yeah, no. They'll just put like no blacks allowed. It's ours, bitches. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, and what you've missed out there, what you've missed out.
Like with you, Ego, you're in freaking Europe, right? In England. So you guys love to go to like fucking Indian restaurants and eat curry and stuff. That's
well, tell me about it. I mean, you forgot one. Exactly.
You fucking cultural appropriating person.
you forgot one. You've got to tell all of your Asian friends that they shouldn't be selling the weaves of all of their women, their hair of all of their women, scalping them bald and sending it to England, Europe, and wherever else in America for these ladies to stop wearing the hair of mentally disturbed women. Some women that are in churches. You know, it's ridiculous, but it's a great topic point because I say this all the time. I was with my cousin yesterday, and she was spouting this rubbish, and I sent her the same video, and she said to me, "Oh well, supposedly the guy called her a bitch before his friend started the recording," and I said, "So what? So you're trying to tell me just because he called her a bitch, which most women call each other anyway, so just because he calls her that means it justifies her to put hands on him?" And the thing about it,
culturally appropriating her woman words. They see how that works out.
I mean, there you go, exactly. And what made me laugh was the guy, the black guy that was standing there. He's a complete jackass. He's a complete jackass. But it's understandable, which I'm taking a piss here. It's understandable when you realize that a lot of black people in America and even over here, they have this idea of this victimization. They don't do any reading. The majority of black people I know, they don't burn the midnight oil to read any books. They don't want to get their facts right. They don't want to realize that the word slave was introduced, I believe, in the 1400s, and that referred to the Slavs because it was the Yugoslavians that were enslaved at those times, and they shortened the word from Slav to slave. And 400 years before slavery ever went to Africa. They forget to tell you that Islam was running the slave trade way before Christendom came over, which was an economical thing. They forget to tell you that over there in Islam, that when black people were taken over there as slaves because it was an economical thing. They forget to tell people that a lot of black men were castrated. When Christendom came over, black people weren't getting castrated. They were getting looked after. I told her when in Africa, when African chieftains were selling their cousins or their people they didn't like, they were getting top dollar for it. They were getting trinkets, doodads, and whatever. And if you're coming all the way from Europe, you've got to think about insurance. You've got to think about your the slaves that you had on board, your inventory, there were a lot of money. You know, you don't go all the way across the world to get slaves if it's a cheap ordeal. And on top of that, I was telling my cousin, before, you know, the Americans went over to Africa, you had rednecks that were enslaved in America. There's a book that I've got called White Cargo I haven't read yet. But that's another powerful point that a lot of people like to, you know, skate over. And on top of that, you had the Native Americans. The Native Americans were being enslaved, but they were to the point where they were completely wiped out of existence.
Yep.
Talk about, you know, someone not giving a monkeys about you. But at least when they got the black slaves, that you know, they got them over. You know, you're strong. You know, you have this spirit about you. Blah blah blah. But the Native Americans were wiped out. But yet again, you don't know anything about this. And I said, maybe you shouldn't talk. Maybe you shouldn't talk. Maybe you shouldn't follow the narrative of bollocks. So yeah, great point. Yeah, carry on anyway. But
yeah,
no,
I've
used this.
Don't know about that. When the Spanish first came over here, they were actually in Florida, and they actually were selling really silly things to the Native Americans to get them to give them gold. And they were giving them really like simple things like copper pots and pans and stuff like that, just things that weren't even worth what they were giving them, because they didn't know what anything was worth. It was just gold to them. So they were having them dig all this stuff up, and they actually were making them work as slaves for them. And when they started to realize what was going on, that's when they started forcing them to do that. And when they first started doing cotton and things like that over here, and planting cotton and like corn and things like that, and trying to grow them to send them back to England, they were actually using Native Americans to do that. But Native Americans weren't used to working that hard, and most of them dropped dead from it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, they weren't feeding them. They actually ended up dying of malnutrition. Lots of them died of like just exhaustion. They weren't giving them water. They didn't give them any food. They would give them very like one meal a day, and then they were having to bust their ass all day farming and trying to find gold for them and stuff like that. And then they were sending it all back to Europe, and these guys were just dropping dead left and right. You know.
And that will make sense. So if that came first, then the trajectory is we find some other people to use as slaves, and this time we'll learn from our mistakes where we shouldn't starve them or not give them water. So it then makes sense, is because I read a very interesting article by this guy when I used to work, this Kenyan guy. We used to speak about all of these things. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago. And like he brought me this article and he said, read this and tell me what you think. And exactly, they were saying how if you realize a certain group of people are physically built for hard labor, and you know, if you were to capture the Native Americans, well, they can break free and go back home somewhere. But if you take them from Africa, you're not going to find a lot of these guys jumping into the sea and swimming back home. You're not going to find that. And on top of that, as I said earlier on, it's very expensive to buy slaves and trade them. And on top of that, you know, it's an economical thing. So when he showed me this and I read the article, it was very interesting, you know. But yet again, a lot of the people nowadays, they don't look at this. They don't talk about the Ustashi in 1942, what, you know, Germany did. Well, the Ustashi did to, I think it was the Ukrainians. They don't talk about what the Turks did to what's it called? Where's Kim Kardashian from again?
Ethnically, I think she's or whatever. She's like Armenian.
That's the one they did, because I had an Armenian girlfriend years ago, and she told me how the whole to do, you know, and a lot of these things I explained to my cousin. I said to her, I said, listen, what you've got to realize about black people or Africans, they're still in the early stages of their development. I said, if you go to Africa, I said, I don't know of many Africans that know how to build a seaworthy ship. She thought I was being rude, but I go, no, I'm being objective. I go, the only individual that I know of that's trying to do anything in Africa is Akon at the moment. He's going over there with the money he's made from diamonds and music. He's going to help certain places in Africa. But then what's going on is, you have in 2016 a lot of Africans, West Africans that are supposed to be the richest, they've become a consumer-based. They're having a consumer-based mindset. So whereas they're lazy bastards, they're lazy bastards. So what's happening now is, if you have the European or the Americans, for crying out loud, the start of America, because it was because of the British back then wanted to break away from the taxes and the drudgery of having to pay the king more money. They fought to leave England. The Irish, they were persecuted.
Yep, that's what one person put in the chat, actually, that a bunch of
Yeah.
Irish people were also enslaved.
Massively,
But,
massively.
well, do you know what else happened? Something that a lot of people don't talk about that I read in a book, and I was really surprised when I read it. I sat down in the library one day and I was reading about Native American tribes and stuff, and I found out that the reason why the native tribes went to war with the English that were here was because they were getting sick, the English, and they were running out of food, and the Native Americans were not allowing them to hunt, basically, and they were because they started to realize what they were doing, that they were trying to, like, fuck with them, and they were getting messages from other tribes telling them that they should not deal with them. So what these people did is they built like their little fort, and they sat in their little fort, and they kind of locked themselves away, and they were going out and hunting deer and stuff like that, but they actually hunted the area. They were doing what typical foreigners do, like Americans would do, and they were over hunting. So they were killing way more food than they needed, and there was actually no food for the natives because of that, because of what they were doing. They were over hunting everything. So the natives were actually keeping them in their little thing, and what they did was they started doing cannibalism. And what they were doing is they were finding Native Americans and they were eating them. And one of the people that started the war, that started the Native Americans to fight with the foreigners, was they actually found the king's daughter and ate her.
Oof.
And that's actually what started the Native Americans wanting to kill all of the foreigners there, is that they actually found the king's daughter of the time that they were in the area they were living in, and they ate her. They killed her and ate her.
Well, there you go.
And this is before they knew what barbecue sauce was.
Yeah.
It was dark times back then, man.
Exactly. And this is like a lot of the stuff that they don't talk about. And this is why I'm trying to I want more people in schools to learn these things, because they should be taught the facts, the reality of how it really was back then, because a lot of people don't want to. They want to act like that's not how it is, and that is how it is. They have this.
People are trying to rewrite history. It's not even a new thing to do that, but there's a lot of that going on these days, just to basically have a say in things that never fucking happened.
Yeah. Well, you see those silly books that they had in Texas that everybody got pissed off about, right? Where they were trying to change the curriculum and make it say that blacks weren't slaves. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, they had these books that came out, and they rewrote the stuff and tried to say that actually blacks weren't slaves. They were actually working, like they were working for the foreigners and stuff like that. I forget how they put it, but it was like basically they just said that they weren't slaves, and everybody was like, "What?" And they got like completely pissed off about it. They should have.
Part and parcel of some of the things there, if anyone ever studies the works of people like Thomas Sowell and other people, you see that a lot of black people, even back then in America, were plantation owners themselves. I mean, there's the talks of Bob Marley, his father, he looked after a plantation. There's many of these things, and it just so conveniently shrouded away from society. And what I can see is that a lot of the times it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me that if we're in 2016, none of us have gone through these things, for me or anyone to start saying, listen, you've got to apologize for an ancestor that is not even necessarily related to you, just
Yeah.
because of the pigmentation of the skin. This is insanity.
Yeah.
Total and utter insanity.
Yeah, like the thing is like a lot of the whites that came over to the United States also were slaves. And they came over, they brought them over, and they were like Irish slaves and things like that. And they brought them over, and they said, okay, well, we're going to give you like a free mule and some land or some bullshit like that. And they brought them over, and they ended up working for the railroad and like going to war and being in the military and stuff. And they told them like, we'll give you citizenship if you go in the military. So they like came right off the boat, didn't know how to speak English, and they put him in like a military garb and gave him a gun and told him go fight. So that was kind of like how a lot of them got over here, you know?
Yeah, I was saying the exact same thing to my cousin. I was explaining to her that they were getting shanghaied. You know,
Yeah,
you'd be walking a drunk sailor or someone, and he gets stuffed in a potato bag, and he wakes up. He's in Boston. You
yeah,
what? You what, Gov? Well, you know,
Well,
it's going to cost you this amount to get back. You better work it off. And
yeah,
these are a lot of the things that were happening. And
yeah, yeah. They were doing that to everybody. When you're in some foreign country and you don't even know where you're at, really, and you
mm,
don't speak the language, you know, everybody speaks different languages back then, and a lot of people spoke English, you know, but they also spoke other languages. So that you're thrown into some place where you don't know where you're at, you don't know how to get back where you were, you don't know how to talk to anybody, and everybody doesn't want to help you. At that time, nobody wanted to help anybody, you know. So they were all out for themselves because it was kind of like a cutthroat society. There wasn't that many like foreigners in the United States. There's probably a few 100,000, maybe a million at most in the entire country. Now there's 167 million, just 163 million just women. 67 million women. So I mean there's back then it was just like nobody cared about you. And everybody lived on the area in the foreign areas. So the people that wanted to walk out, and go out to like where the Colorado area was or Chicago or places like that, those are places where nobody was, and those people were like hardcore, they didn't want to deal with all the bullshit. But then in other ways, you had the people that were dragging people out there to do like the hunting of the buffalo and stuff like that. And a lot of those people were actually slaves too. There was some guy that had a lot of money and he had a wagon and a bunch of shit, and he just kind of grabbed a couple people off of a boat and took them and put them on the thing and forced them to work for him and cut up buffalo.
well, this is part and parcel of it. And I'm not saying slavery is a good or bad thing. Whenever I speak, I might be passionate about what I say, but I'm purely objective. I don't get my feelings involved. Now,
Yeah.
this is what I say to a lot of black people, or in better term, Hemites, because the Jews or the Jewish still call themselves Semites if you're against Jews, or
mhm.
whatever. They call you anti-Semite, and they say the people, white people, for lack of a better word, Japheth. So the Hemites or blacks, whichever you want to use, I always say, listen, a lot of Europeans that have gone through slavery for hundreds, they were the first ones that were enslaved. If I'm over here in London, the first individual I will try to enslave is the first guy I can get my hands on. Whoever walks in front of me, my next door. I'm not going to be thinking of going down to bloody, I don't know, Essex to enslave some guy in fucking Essex. I'm going to go
I
next
can
door.
I can just imagine Essex girls being slaved with that fucking accent, dude.
Oh
I
God,
can't.
you
Yeah.
can't imagine Essex.
They'd be like, can you just ship him back, mate? I got a defective one. It's fucking annoying. It keeps
Oh,
making noise out of its mouth hole.
Hmm.
it's quite embarrassing.
So
Do you
shut.
watch
Essex
a
girl.
program called The Only Way is Essex?
No,
Have you
I
ever
don't.
heard?
I don't. I
You
have
should
not.
check it. I mean, you should check it out. It's quite hilarious. But yeah, so yeah, these are part and parcels of the insanity that people talk about. And I try to tell people. I was telling my cousin that when the Windrush happened, I might have said this before. When the Windrush happened, you had a lot of Japheth or whites in the UK that had already been through slavery. You had the English poor law in the 500s. Then you had in the 1800s poverty, a poverty thing in like East London, Bethnal Green. Because I took her to a museum yesterday, And I said, what you've got to understand is the Caribbeans that came over for the Windrush, they were already indoctrinated into the ways of the English. I said, if you go and look back at some of the video footage of when the Caribbeans came over, they were in suits and ties. They were just a darker skinned version of the working class English. And I said they came off, the British government did a deal. Listen, we need you to work on the railroads. The English don't want to do it. They're tapped out. We've used and abused them for forever. So you come over. We'll give you British passports and we'll give you a place to live. These are the deals that people do, the countries do with foreigners. But I said to her, the difference was back then is you had people that are already taught the British way. I said now in 2016, this whole idea of Syrian refugees or whoever, I said, you're going to have a massive problem because they're still keeping their ways and coming into a country like this. You might have what you just mentioned, Shi-Nu, where you have the foreigners coming in and completely destroying whatever the natives had. And there's no communication. You're going to have pure mayhem. Because in all of the shops around, if you go to Asda, Sainsbury's, a lot of the food stuff, you're having sections that say this is halal. This is halal food. Meaning that this whole idea of halal didn't just start yesterday. It's been years in progress till you go to Sainsbury's and you have halal meat. I mean, but people don't see these things, you see, and it's going to be quite bad if people don't stop pointing the finger and, calling each other, race appropriation and saying, white privilege. That's another insane thing, I've heard. White privilege, really. Go up to...
Weren't there select subways in England that started serving halal meat and people fucking threw a stink up because basically someone was making the argument that, it's going to be all the subways, and it's like, well, possibly, but not likely. They're doing this as a targeted thing for the Muslim audiences, for the Muslim customers in those areas who demanded it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you'll have yours, but then they have theirs. It's no different than going to I forget which country it was, but I saw like commercials for like some Asian version of Pizza Hut, and they serve seafood there. Pizza is like a side dish or some shit. It's like, I can get actual spaghetti at fucking Pizza Hut. I want to go. You can't get that here in the States.
Yeah, we have some weird shit over here actually. They like if you go to Pizza Hut, they don't have like normal pizzas. Like, well, I mean they do, but they're more people buy weird pizzas here. They have like pizzas with like crab on them and like anchovies, like not anchovies, but like oysters and like fish and seaweed and really weird shit where you're like, why did you put that on the pizza? And it's like if I like showed you, like I could mail you like one of the pizza things that they have that they send to my door. They put them in a door slot all the time, and I look at them and it's just like, it doesn't look to me very appetizing at all because they'll put like corn like on a pizza.
English people do that as well, though.
Yeah, they do. They do.
It's fucking weird.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like they'll have a pizza and they'll have like spaghetti sauce, which is normal, and then on top of the spaghetti sauce they put like octopus, So already you're like, oh, okay, and then on top of that they put like oysters, and you're like, okay, it's getting weirder, and then they'll put some cheese, and you're like, okay, so we're done. No, we're not done. Then they put these fish flakes, the really like fine shredded fish flakes, and those will sit on the top of the thing, and they'll just kind of like do this because of the heat of the pizza, and they do that afterwards, after that's done. So then they'll put mayonnaise.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, and then they'll put corn, and then they'll throw corn on the top of it.
God damn it, dude.
And then they'll put some more like seaweed, but like crunched up seaweed like all over the top of it, and then they'll put it in the oven and they'll cook it. And then when it comes out, they'll put on those fish flakes on the top, and your pizza's sitting here doing this, with these little thin fish flakes that are just like this. They look like fish food, and they're on the top of your pizza doing this with mayonnaise and corn and like.
God
I'm like,
almighty.
what the fuck is that? That is not pizza. It's
Ego,
like,
Ego might not remember this. I was gonna ask if you remembered the. Do you remember when Heinz tried to put baked beans on all sorts of other food?
no.
Like it was. Oh Christ! But this is like an English thing. I swear to God, they tried to put like baked beans on stuff that was normally eaten with baked beans, but you don't want your baked beans on it. Like they didn't quite understand that it was a side dish and not part of the fucking thing.
Give me an example.
Well, there
Because
was pizza. There was pizza for what? There was pizza, shepherd's pie.
oh yeah,
There were,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
there are a whole bunch of it. I just thought I thought one of the grossest things ever. I gotta have a clear separation of my shepherd's pie and my fucking beans, man. My OCD kicks in, and it's like, no, reject this food. It is an abomination. It is.
The only
Science has
thing
gone too far.
the only thing I ever thought that was okay was like beans and toast,
Mm-hmm.
baked beans and toast, and that was about it. But then I realized a few years ago they were trying to do deep fried Mars bars at chip shops. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I have. It's gross. It's.
They-
I can see the
those
appeal. It's not-
fairs, those American state fairs, they have like fried Coke.
What?
Have you heard of that one?
How the
Fried
fuck
Coke.
does
They
that work?
put Coca-Cola. I don't even know how they do it, but they have like fried Coke. I don't even know how you do that. How you'd even accomplish fried Coke.
Is it like how they do the deep fried ice cream?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I
Must
think
be.
I think because it's sugar.
What?
It's mostly sugar. So I imagine if you put Coke in a fryer,
Mhm.
it's going to turn into like kind of like glazed sugar or something. I don't know.
Sure.
I've never even seen it, but they have a lot of shit like that they do where it's just they're putting stuff in like the fryer and like dipping it in things, and they have like fried Twinkies.
Which is
Like
kind of redundant,
it's
but-
not unhealthy enough. You got to fry it too.
Yeah. If it's not going to last the apocalypse now it's got a protective layer. Fucking.
Yeah, they like stuff it in something. They put it in like batter, and then they
Mhm.
fry it, and it's like a cake batter, which it's already cake anyway, so it's like redundant.
Yeah.
You know? It's like most of the stuff they do is kind of redundant. But then they have like fried Snickers, and you can basically like everything you find at American state fairs is just something fried. And it's like, and then people wonder why they're so fat.
Yep, we're really good at finding ways to fucking just shove those calories in where they're not wanted.
Yeah, let's fry everything. Just fry it all. Doesn't matter what it is, just fry it. It'll be good.
One of the funny things I used to get when I was a kid is the English people they didn't really like American people too much where I lived, and they would be like, "Oh, yeah, you Americans are fat. Now you guys have seen me. I'm a skinny motherfucker, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're gonna tell me that all Americans are fat fuckers? Yeah, I'm the example of how you're wrong. And yeah, this is coming from someone who's fucking overweight and nasty. I'm like, this is clearly projection.
Yeah, usually that's what happens with me with being a vegan. I'll be talking to these people and they're like, "Oh, vegans aren't healthy and that's not a healthy way to eat." And they're telling me this and they're like 400 pounds. And it's like, so you're going to tell me that your diet is healthier than my diet? Yet I haven't been to a doctor in 22 years and you look like you're about ready to die today. It's like, so tell me again why you eat healthier than me.
Oh yeah, like, I don't know. It's just funny. Projection is one of those things that just fucking. When I learned about it as a concept, I fucking just laughed, and I'm like, this describes so many fucking people I've talked to. It's unreal. I don't know. It was just great. It's really handy having a fucking trained psychologist as a brother. So.
Yeah.
He's got all sorts of fucking bullshit on his resume. It's insane what he's got. He's like a brain surgeon and that bullshit, and he's a registered nurse. And I'm just like, holy fucking shit. I was like, what are you trying to do? Engineer the perfect human or something, like, and then take care of them. And Florence Nightingale the shit out of it. I see how you're gonna be, mate.
Yeah, he wants to.
Like, more power to you.
He wants to work for Hitler.
Oh God. I was actually kind of wait, you were watching that stream. I was saying about how I was upset about how that we don't have supervillains making like the Ubermensch, was really pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Because we have all these I'll give it some context. We have all these what the fuck were they called? Basically, I don't want to say subspecies of humans, but that's the closest analog I can come up with. Basically, races, quote unquote. There's an actual scientific term I forget offhand. But basically they're demonstrable. There are examples of humans who have evolved to adapt to certain situations. Like the people from Tibet can survive at much higher altitudes than normal people.
Yeah.
Because they've developed a specific adaptation for that, and there was other examples as well. I was just like, why is no one taking all these awesome super genes to create the fucking Ubermensch? What the fuck?
Have you heard about there was something I watched, I think it was one of those Jesse Ventura videos that he did, where he was talking about some place in America where they were making part human, part ape. Did you hear about those people?
No.
And there was these people that were talking about they were getting loose. There were some people that were getting loose. They were saying that they because they were half human, half ape, they were more powerful. They were like 10 times more powerful than a human, and they were able to jump really far. They could climb through trees and really fast. And people were saying I've seen them get out and escape and And it was really weird. I've never heard of anything like that before, but they were talking about these half human, half monkey people.
I swear that these half human, half monkey people you speak of are basically just bouncers that work in nightclubs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I swear they look like they're a fucking crossbreed, like some of those motherfuckers.
They're Donald Trump supporters.
Oh God! Speaking of that, I've been getting the round of calls where you know how every election season it's like oh yeah, you get phone calls when you're eating dinner or taking a shit or something. It's like, hey, who are you gonna vote for? And all this shit. I'm just so fucking already just not giving a shit.
Yeah.
I'm just telling them not to talk to me. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm voting Vermin Supreme. There's no way you're gonna convince me otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah. Bernie's the guy. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just fuck's sake. I can't deal with this shit already. I don't care. I'm under the impression that the fucking elections are rigged anyway. So it's like,
come on.
Why am I
From
gonna?
a long time. From a very long time. I mean, it's just.
Well, you don't actually vote. You don't actually elect anybody. That's the thing. They got two problems. You got the what do they call them? The super voters or something like that. That actually make the decision of who's going to get elected for being the person that gets elected. They call them super delegates or something like that, or super something or other, to where you're voting, but your vote really doesn't count. Their vote counts. So they call them super delegates or something. I forget what they were calling them, but they're the people that actually make the decision. And then once you get to the point where you're actually voting for the president, there's everybody votes, and then they have that fucking electoral college, and they're the ones that actually really get people elected. And they have it set up to where if everybody votes for one person and very few vote for the other person, then the people that got the lot of votes get some of the electoral votes, and the rest of them go towards the person that didn't get many. So that means the person that actually the people didn't want might actually get elected, which is what happened with George Bush. Most of his election, he wouldn't have been elected because actually Kerry won, but because of the electoral college, it got all flipped, and actually Kerry got the most votes from the people, but the electoral college elected Bush.
There's a lot of bullshit tricks that they play in order to basically get in the people they want.
Yeah, like the gerrymandering. Every year they change the lines of the county lines and where things are drawn, and they say you can only vote here at this certain location. If you're in this area, you only have these certain locations that you can vote at, and then they can say this many people turned out to this voting thing, and they can say, okay, this person said when they registered in the primary that they were a Democrat, so we're going to put those people in this area, and they can vote here, and then we can say more people turned out for the Republicans, in this area, and they gerrymander everything. And instead of just having an election and letting the people vote for people, they try to gerrymander stuff to try to make it look different, and that gets other people elected. You know?
Yeah, and it's not even direct votes either. They
No.
because of the county things, they just fucking filter it down, filter it down, and filter it down until basically get to the state level where each state has its own weight of how they're electing power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking complicated system. It really it's retardedly complicated.
Yeah, and it needs to not be that way. That's the thing that I think Bernie wants to do. He wants to take money out of politics, and once he does that, if he can get money out of politics and then he can get actual votes to count, a lot of people will be like, you know, I mean, you can easily vote and get anybody elected. You know, like the president is supposed to be for the people, by the people, of the people. But when was the last time you've seen like an auto mechanic elected, or like a farmer, you know, or a well, I mean, a doctor obviously is doctors have been elected, but you know, when you look at like the people that are representing people, most of these people that are there were like Princeton, Yale, Stanford, Harvard. They come from a long line of like really rich people that are basically no different than the Queen of England. And if you really want change in the United States, I don't understand why people don't stop electing those people, because those people don't represent you. They don't even know anything about your life. You know, when you're talking about these kind of people, you're talking about people that have never lived your life. Like I always talk about, their first car was a limousine. They went to private schools. They went to private high schools, private daycares, private everything. They've never lived in a normal environment. A lot of times they eat like really expensive food. They've never went to a Walmart. They don't know anything about your life, yet they're representing you. And then when you tell them something like, I want this because of this, they don't know what you're talking about because they've never had to experience that.
See, I'm in favor of basically, you know how like politicians lie, they always do. It's always been the fucking way. Like, I'm of the impression that fucking Bernie is kind of overreaching with he's saying, oh, let's get money out of politics. You're never gonna fucking achieve that, fucking ever. It's basically part of the game. It's always been part of the game since fucking the game was invented. Like it's inherently part of the rules. You cannot. The only way to do it is to basically be like, fuck it, we're making our own country, and we're going to be completely independent of everywhere else in the fucking world. We're going to be our own little.
And that happened in America 260 years ago, and now they've got it all fucked up.
And it doesn't work. It just does not work. He's I don't know if he seems like he's just promising things that people want to hear, which is basically politics.
Well, the thing about that is it's not quite the same as that, because when you hear politicians do that, if you look back at their voting record, you'll see that everything they're telling you is bullshit. The problem with Bernie is, if you look back at his voting record and look about what he's been fighting for since the 60s, it's the same shit the whole fucking time. So that's the thing, that maybe he won't get anything done, but it's not because he doesn't really want to do it. He's been fighting for that for 40 years. So if he doesn't get it done, it's not going to be his fault. He's going to try. The other people won't even try. They're just saying it because they know that the people want to hear that, like Hillary Clinton. She's saying it because she knows people actually want that stuff done, but she's not going to do it. But Bernie has been fighting for it. He actually wants to get it done, and he's actually going to try to get it done. Whether he can or can't is beside the point. The fact is, he's actually going to try, and nobody else will.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't get involved in the game of politics at all. It's a fool's errand as far as I'm concerned.
Like I say, I want to become a refugee here in Japan, and I don't ever want to step foot again on American soil. And I really don't care who gets elected as long as it doesn't fuck with us. And if Trump gets elected, it could. So I hope Bernie gets elected, and I'll since I still have my citizenship and stuff, I'll vote from here. I can vote from here and do like a ballot and stuff. So I'll vote for Bernie. But I hope he doesn't get elected. You know. But you know. whatever.
I'm getting to the point where I want to live in the fucking Rocky Mountains, away from people. Just
Yeah.
be a huntress and fucking live off the land. That's
I wanted to do that forever too.
like,
I wanted a log cabin and live up in the mountains away from everybody, and just like have a greenhouse and grow my own food, my own weed.
yes,
You know.
yes.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too. I thought that would be so cool. Because I'm a vegan, so I could have like a really nice I would only need like maybe like a 40-foot by like 10-foot wide greenhouse, and I could do like strawberries and plants and fruits and vegetables and all kinds of stuff, and I could have food all year round. You know, grow potatoes and corn and everything in the greenhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually trying to take steps toward doing this for real because, well, one thing is I want to own a crossbow for quote unquote home protection. It's gonna be more or less for intimidation in the house, although I will fucking use it on someone who tries to break in. No hesitation. But I want to learn how to use it, and the only way to learn how to use it is by practicing. The only way to practice is to actually go out and fucking use it, and the only way to fucking go out is to have a hunting permit. So it's like, well, that means I actually have to go kill things.
So what? You've got to have a hunting. Well. I mean,
I have to go get like all the hunting license and shit like that, and
what? For a crossbow.
For a crossbow, yeah.
So you couldn't purchase a crossbow and just fire it in your back garden if you have a big enough garden,
Well,
right?
I guess I could. I mean, I don't have a back garden, but yes. I'd rather fucking keep my nose clean, but it's still a good opportunity to do all this shit.
Yeah, definitely. Because the other option you can probably do is just get one of those nail guns. They're a bit heavy, but they're like compact, bish bash bosh, great power.
Well, well, the other thing is I do actually want to learn how to hunt because if you know if shit ever hits the fan, you know, I can survive. You know, I can. No, it's like it's a self-reliance thing. And it plus all my friends are like outdoorsy people. I'm really not. I do hiking. That's about as outdoorsy as I get. But I take my fucking GPS with me and all that shit. I'm one of those people. Mainly because I don't want to get mauled by mountain lions, or if I do get mauled by mountain lions, people can find my corpse within a nice amount of time. They're like, oh, that's where that bitch died, and then over there too. Because it happens, man. We do have mountain lions out here, and they will fucking stalk your ass if you're not careful. So.
Yeah, and bears.
Bears, yes.
Brown bears too. Yeah.
Yep. There's all sorts of shit that can kill you up here, so I've got to be careful. But I'd like to know how to defend myself from some of that shit too. I mean, I like to go up to the mountains and just hang out for a while. It's not to get fresh air and away from all the shitheads, and you know you can smoke weed all you want, and there's no one there bugging you to fucking bum off you. It's like, no, fuck away from me.
I was wanting to do that when I was younger. So I wanted to like drive up to the mountains and just walk up into the mountains like where there's no roads and like chop down trees and start building a house and just live up there where nobody would find you, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's the dream for me. That really is. Like I'm getting to that point because I'm like, fuck this.
Well, that's why I don't know if you've seen the videos I did of Ichijima where I was at, but it's an island. And there's only like 2 ferries that go there, and there's 2 bridges, and it's basically an island about the size of a Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And prices for houses, you can actually rent houses. You can get houses there actually for free, but rent there's like $100 a month. You know, so it's really cheap to live there. And I would love to just like go there and. Like, my friends actually own a whole mountain. They've got a whole mountain there, all the way to the other side. And they use it for, like, they have, like, a bamboo farm, and then they also have, like, a regular farm. And they plant vegetables and stuff like that. And they sell vegetables and things, and they have fruits and all kinds of things like that. But you can actually buy something like that on Ichijima Island, you know, for $100,000. You can get a whole goddamn mountain, you know.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Can you rename the mountain when you buy it, or does it have to like stay the same fucking name? Because that'd be bullshit. Like,
yeah, I'd rename it like Pimp Slap Alp.
Yeah.
Pimp Slap.
Mount Patriarchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'd be like, other people would be like, fucking seriously, bro? I'd be like, yes. This is the new shitlord capital of the fucking world. I'm announcing it.
Yeah, I'd call it like Mount Pimp Slap. And then
Yep.
my road going up would say Patriarchy Drive. Yeah.
Like, and then what are they gonna fucking do? Make you change it? Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
My
they won't
bad,
even know what
bitch.
it's all it's Japanese, so they won't even know what I'm talking about.
It did look nice there when you were walking around. It was
Yeah.
although to be fair, comparison, I was walking around in fucking like nearly waist deep snow. So
Yeah.
well, not the whole time. Just
Yeah.
on
When I was
on
doing
the-
that video, it was like it was only 7:30 in the morning, but it was already like
Mhm.
55 degrees.
Oh man, it's beautiful. Nearly waist deep snow. So
Yeah.
well, not the whole time. Oh,
Just yeah. When I was doing that video, it was like.
Oh.
It was
So I'm getting
7:30 in the
the
morning.
feedback from the live stream.
Yeah, we've got Richard just came in and he's actually feeding back.
Oh, okay.
All right. It was like, yeah, you're listening to the live stream at the same time that you're in the live stream, so you're getting echo.
Echo.
Yeah.
So I'm still
Yeah.
trying to find all my dominatrix shit for the stream later on today.
Yeah.
You think I'd keep it all in one convenient place? Nah, fuck that. The hormones are kicking in. I got to keep it in a bunch of random places, right? Because that's the only way it works.
Yeah. Oh, now he left.
Oh, radio.
And then Tifa jumps in.
You should ask Richard that question when he comes back, because he seems to have dreadlocks there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
that,
Hey
you know,
guys.
Hey, what's up, Tifa?
Hey.
but
Hey guys.
Every time. Tifa comes in, the first thing he does is laugh. She's always totally high, and she comes in, she starts laughing.
I just woke up.
Yeah.
oh, my.
You get so high. You get so high. The laugh has now become infectious.
Yeah, exactly. So she'll just pop into one of my hangouts, and she just starts laughing immediately.
Yeah. So that's
I'm
alright.
happy to see you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I haven't
been
done
able
the
to jump in there.
roundtables in a while. It's been 2 weeks since I did the roundtables. I've been going up to Itajima and Hiroshima Prefecture to work on our EDM festival that we do every year. We do like 4 or 5 EDM festivals, and I did we go up there and we're building a deck and doing a bunch of stuff, cleaning up and pulling up rocks and trying to like make it nicer and stuff up there. So I went up there for like 4 days, and then I came back, and then like 3 days later I left and went for like another 4 days. So I went up there the first time it was Wednesday, and I didn't come home till Monday. So there's the internet on that island sucks ass. I can barely watch a video. It takes like a 10-minute video. It took me like an hour to watch it. So it's
wow.
fucking retarded. So I really can't do much there. And then I came back on Monday, and then he had me go back with him again on Friday. And then I
Okay.
came back again just like 2 days ago. So I kept missing Saturdays. So kind of sucked.
What the fuck? I'm trying to look for my purple striped leggings. I can't find them.
Hmm.
This is bullshit. Don't tell me I left them at the fucking Halloween party when I was there.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I hear you.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Cool.
Problem with audio service.
Weird.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about cultural appropriation and like the video of that black girl that like was looking at that white kid like grabbing his arm and pushing him around, saying that he was cultural appropriating because he had dreadlocks, and he was telling her like, leave me alone, stop touching me and stuff like that. And then she started telling him like, quit touching me and quit pushing me, and she was actually grabbing onto him at the time, and she was
Sounds
assaulted.
like the first or
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I haven't seen you guys in forever. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Wen.
Hi.
that's like a post into the way culture really spreads.
Yeah. Yeah.
People trying out other people's shit and seeing if it works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, usually you'll see stuff happening like that where they say it's cultural appropriation, and then they have a weave, and they have blonde hair and blue eyes, they have blue-eyed contacts. And they're like, "You're cultural appropriating," while they listen to, Justin Bieber. You know?
Yeah, or with like blonde weaves or some shit like that.
Yeah. They've got like blonde weaves and they've got like blue
Ridiculous.
contacts, and then they listen to Justin Bieber and they're like, "You're cultural appropriating."
You must join the conformist collective. Be one
Well,
of
it's funny
us.
though how kind of hair culture thing has made Indian hair really more worth than gold.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I think there's this thing in India, like if you're a woman and you have long hair and you go into the cinema, someone might sneak up on you and try to cut off your hair while you're watching the movie so you can go sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of shit scared people do that to me here in the States, like, because I have really, really nice hair. I get people come up to me off the street and ask me my hair care regime because it's really shiny, and I have this apparently I have this unfounded fear that someone's going to cut my hair off. But I was like, the second someone does it, I will beat their face in. They will have teeth on the backside of their head, quite literally. I was like,
Yeah. You don't want to look at her
I
purse.
feel the same way, but I
Carries a
don't think
long
the
chain.
amount of dreadlocks is that huge.
sorry, what you said about my purse?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. You don't want to fuck with her unless you've seen her purse. You know.
yeah, that's right. I showed you the small arsenal I
With a
carry
long
around
chain.
with me.
It's got like a long.
Yeah. I got some really nasty shit. If anyone fucks with me, I'm well prepared.
Yeah.
And
Corporal punishment.
well, it comes after the fact that on New Year's Eve 2014, I was out at a public place and these two dudes pull up in basically like a rape van. You know, the fucking van with no windows, right? They pull up across the street from where I'm at, walk over, and then start fucking hollering at me, and I ignore them because they're fucking nasty for one, but two, I was also on the phone. And keep in mind, there are people around and shit like that. I was at a restaurant, and just waiting for one of my friends to show up, and they fucking, because I ignored them, they starting to threaten violence and rape against me, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I was like, man, stop! I was like, stop making me think the feminists are right, you bastards.
Rape culture. Rape culture.
Yeah, but I didn't like fucking like crumple up and whatnot. I
It's
just
the
fucking,
patriarchy van.
Yeah.
I just walked to what I deemed to be a much more safer place, and there was my friend. So I was like, all right, we got to go. She's like, why? And I explained to her after the fact. She's like, oh shit. So then when I got back, I was really kind of like shaken up about it. And I went online and looked up the laws of what weapons I can carry and which ones I can't. And I was like, right, I'm going to protect myself. I was like, I'm going out to get some fucking pepper spray and learn how to use it and get the shit that takes it off in case someone uses it on me, and all that crap. You know, I took it very seriously after that. It's just very funny. It was the the New Year's before the fucking the apparent rapes in Europe and whatnot. So,
Also, around
yeah.
Rapes in Europe.
Oh, like the
yeah, we had a
clones.
huge debacle about that shit in Sweden as well.
Yeah, it wasn't just like one place. It was like a whole bunch of places.
I was
Yeah, it basically happened in every major city in Sweden
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, so wait a minute. So Richard, you live in Sweden, correct?
Yeah, I'm
So-
Swedish.
Oh, fantastic! So I've been to Sweden once, and I've done my trips around there. But so what's the situation on Ground Zero? Is this whole thing that we're doing over here? Is this the whole
I mean,
thing?
Sweden in a lot of ways is socially justice warrior heartland, you know? Politics here is really dominated by the feels, rather than any
The field.
facts about anything. It's quite tragic, really.
So is it true that a lot of the women are getting sort of like molested by foreigners, and is that
Yeah,
true,
it is
or is
definitely
that?
true. I mean, the other day, there was like, there's this evening newspaper, I think, Aftonbladet. They just briefly interviewed people who went on this cruise ship in Sweden, Silja Line. I think it was Silja Line. I don't remember which country it goes to, but either be Finland, could be in Poland, yeah, Riga or something like that. But either way, these people said that they were gonna, go crazy and have some fun, and they ended up raping a woman on the boat, and they were also immigrants. But yeah, they don't really talk much about statistics here in Sweden because, yeah, there's an ugly trend inside the crime statistics. So they kind of want to avoid that. But if you look into it, you'll find that immigrants kind of stand out, and particularly a certain group.
And what's that certain group? Arabs or
Yeah,
Syrians?
I mean, we've had a lot of rapes lately, especially since all of these refugees has been coming. They're really not refugees; they're more economic migrants. But whatever. I mean, have you guys heard about? There's a lot of immigrants that come to Sweden and lie about their age.
Yes.
They might be like 25 or even 30 in some cases, and then they pose as children, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's a serious problem here because apparently someone thought it was a good idea not to have any medical examinations to prove their age.
Mhm.
So if they lie about, get the royal treatment, roll out the red carpet and shit.
Yeah, fucking wild. I mean, that's which country they come from? Syria or somewhere else?
Well, there's Syria, but it's also a lot of people from Iraq and all sorts of places,
Afghanistan.
like West Africa and the northern part of Africa, Somalia, and it's all over the place, really.
Yep.
I know some people here who are fresh off the boat, and I do know some of their the ones who grew up in this country, and they really don't like what their parents do. They seem to glorify using the welfare system.
Yeah, that's kind of a big thing around here, because welfare system here is kind of, the whole idea about it is that everybody thinks that you should work, right? And the welfare system is kind of there for you if you don't, but if you don't have the same mindset as normal Swedish people, it's really easy to take advantage of the system.
And Shi-Nu, what did I say earlier
in a really nice way?
Exactly. What did I say earlier on, Shi-Nu? Exactly. This is the problem, because when I growing up in England, I saw that when I used to go to school, primary school, we had maybe like 5 different languages in the whole school, but everyone spoke English. Everyone was indoctrinated in the English ideology. But now you have people. I know some people that they don't speak a lick of English. They've been here for 40 years. How? They don't understand the way. This is dangerous.
Yeah, the same thing go on in America too with with Spanish people. There's Spanish people in America, and there's Cuban people in Florida that don't speak any English, and they've actually lived in America for like 15 or 20 years. I don't understand how that's even possible.
Look, I'm not trying to be an arsehole. I'm not trying to be an arsehole, but I tell people, if you don't...
That's kind of the result of when you have like parallel societies within the larger society that just go off and do their own thing. It's kind of like they're establishing a small country on their own.
Yeah, it's kind of like was it like Chinatown kind of? Where Basically,
they moved to America, but actually they basically moved to an area where it's nothing but their same countrymen. I was always talking to my students when I was teaching in America. There's a lot of Japanese students that come to America, and they get in little groups of Japanese people, and they only speak Japanese, and they help each other with their studies and all this stuff, and they never associate. They don't have any foreign friends, and I would come as a professor, and I just come and sit down in the middle of their group, and I speak Japanese. I'm from Japan, and my mother was Japanese, so I would just sit down in front of them, and I'd be like, "Why did you come to America?"
Exactly.
And they would tell me like, "Oh, I wanted to come and see the culture and blah blah blah, and I wanted to meet the people, and I thought it would be fun to go to American college and learn English and all this stuff." And I was like, "Well, then why the fuck are you guys sitting in a group together with nothing but Japanese people? There's all these foreigners around, all these Americans around, and you could go get some friends, some foreign friends, and you could learn English very easily, and you could have Americans helping you with your college homework, not Japanese people. Why don't you go find it? It's fine to have Japanese friends in America, but if you're in America, you should be trying to speak English, and you should be trying to have foreigner friends." I'm like, why did you even come to America if all you want to do is talk Japanese and speak with a bunch of Japanese people? Why didn't you just go to a Japanese college? You know, it
See,
didn't
this
make any
is
sense, and that's what happens to a lot of college people. They'll come over from Russia or something, and all these Russian girls and boys will get together, and they only speak Russian, you know, and they don't speak anything else, and they help each other with their homework, and then they go back to their own country, and it's like basically you were never here, you were never in America, because you never experienced the culture. You just drove around
Yeah,
the country
quite
and
sad,
spoke.
really. Like at my previous campus I went to was basically Chinese students hanging out together. They were like one gigantic group.
Yeah,
Most of them never spent any time with other people.
yeah, it's common.
Yeah, this is one of the things I actually commended my Muslim roommate for, is that he was not like that. He made it perfectly clear he was here to learn shit, and he actually did things like one of the things he did was he plastered his entire room with Arabic words with the English meaning under them, and he would basically, that's how he learned his certain words. When he learned a new word,
That's
he'd find out what
dedication.
yeah, oh yeah, he was really on top of it. Like he hung out with us to learn how we conversed and how we interacted in a non-homogeneous society, because he comes from like a Islamic state. So
And then he blew a car up, right?
no, I don't know about that. But,
Now
yeah,
where is
yeah, so I totally support him in his endeavors, because he was actually doing shit, and I could see that he was. Now he did kind of fall into the trap of hanging out with only his Arabic friends when it was basically when it was convenient for him, and he didn't realize that was really rude when he was hanging out with American people and he wouldn't speak to us in our language even though we know they can. I was
Yeah.
like, I had to explain to him how that's really rude over here. And he's like, oh, but I'm just trying to communicate faster with the people I'm talking with. I'm like, yeah, but you exclude everyone else from the conversation. It's like you basically
Yeah,
just
I've
told
been to
everyone
some, like,
in the room to fuck themselves.
I've been to some Asian gatherings at my previous university, and it would be like mostly people from Thailand and China there, and they would completely ignore everyone who wasn't Asian. You'd feel like you're a little zoo animal, but nobody really talks to you because you're scary. Whatever.
Really
Yeah,
sad.
that would scare them too. Like the Japanese people that I would go sit down in, because I would just sit down at them like on their table, and I would just look at all of them, and I would just shake my head, and then I would start speaking to them in fluent Japanese, and that would like they'd automatically go like, "What the fuck?" You know?
Yeah, what the fuck has happened?
Yeah, they'd go, "What the fuck?" You know? And then I would have to tell them after I talked to them for a while, they would be like, "Wow!" They would tell me in Japanese, basically like, "Nihongo jozu ne," which means like you can speak really good Japanese. And then I'd say my name was, Asami. My last name is Asami, and my mother was Japanese. So then they like oh my gosh, So then they have to start treating me like I'm somebody in their culture even.
Eventually ended up on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, socks instead. Sorry, I managed to find all my gear for the video later. Awesome.
You should put it all on and then come on live. Here.
I don't know. It's gonna take a while to get into it.
Funny though how that kind of dynamic can be kind of nasty sometimes too, because I knew a lot of Chinese people that just mostly hung out with other Chinese people, and eventually they'd get upset with each other and treat each other like shit.
Yeah.
Like they'd push people out of the group and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of the double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah. Like if you get pushed up, you have no friends at all.
Yep. It's fucked. Oh god. It's almost how specifically teenage girls, but women do this as well as adults. How they operate when if you don't go with what the whole group is thinking, they'll fucking ostracize you. And everyone else but you is the gatekeeper of that until you're the one on the other side of the coin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually there be a couple of smaller group who just leads the larger group or something like that, and if they don't like you anymore, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. This is why I don't like anyone. It's just quicker.
Yeah. Just use them for sex, right?
Yep, exactly. The old pump and dump.
Yeah, pump and dump. Let's see. The other thing we were going to talk about is the Mississippi is trying to outlaw premarital
Oh,
sex.
yeah,
What
that's
do you guys
right.
think about that?
How are they
What?
gonna fucking enforce that shit?
Yeah, I know.
Good luck. They're gonna fucking like kick your door in right with the fucking SWAT team. We're like, hey, raise those fucking hands. Let me see them. Yeah, there's no fucking wedding ring here. Fucking.
Yeah. Maybe it's like after the
No, we
fact.
weren't doing anything. His dick is hard. Kill him.
Yeah, exactly. He had his dick out. That's enough.
Got substantial proof.
You're
Yeah.
you're like masturbating. They come in. And it's like, haha, we got you now, you fuckers. Like what? What the fuck am I doing? What's wrong? It's like, you're having premarital sex with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're having a one-some. Yeah. Oh.
Well, I wonder if they'll still do that if you're like gay and married to somebody. You know,
Oh, you're fine.
that's
Okay.
that's what most of those laws are designed for. It's not about premarital sex. It's about trying to outlaw being gay, is what it's really about. They're trying to outlaw you having sex with another like man or woman, but mostly man.
The
You know?
fuck was in the chat just now? Just put that. Okay. Oh, Kramer's rule. Okay.
Yeah. What happened to the chat?
Yeah, Kramer's rule, you know about that, right, One?
I studied it once upon a time. I'm sure if I had read it again, I would.
It can save you, well, if you're doing the redundancy of college, learn that. It's advanced algebra, but if you can figure that out, then you can save yourself a lot of time
I took
with
calculus.
formulas.
I took calculus and applied probabilities. I definitely did that somewhere in the beginning.
Well, you would, but it depends on what institution you went to.
You were your apple. Drop me right.
Yeah, Tifa gives no fucks. Let's see.
So you're saying this is happening in Mississippi? Is that what you're saying? They're trying to.
Yeah, they actually did I think it was Ohio or something. They had another law that was on the books where they said like anal and oral sex was illegal, but it had been on the books for a long time. But then they brought it back up again and they basically said they were going to enforce it. They were going to start enforcing it. And most of these laws that are coming up like that are not for cisgender people. They're trying to fuck with like gays and lesbians and transgenders is basically what they're trying to fuck with.
Well, I mean, they
That's
can
what
try
really
as much as possible to try and do that, but I know to a certain degree that a lot of these politicians, a lot of these guys that went to these elite schools, if they have such a thing in, wherever, a lot of these guys have been participating in all of that sort of stuff at a young age in their university dorm rooms as a way of like camaraderie to some of the things that I studied. So and a lot of them still have a taste for it. So they might be going for the homosexual group or whoever. It's not going to work, but nice try.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get my refugee status here. Is like they had a hard time they were saying, well, America made it legal for you to marry like gay marriage. They didn't understand that like gay marriage and transgenders has nothing to do with each other. And I kept trying to explain to them in Japanese and in English, and they couldn't understand how me being transgender doesn't mean gay. Like I'm into women, so technically I'm a transgender lesbian, but they thought because you're transgender, well then you're obviously into men, and that just means you're gay. So why don't you stay in America and just marry a man, because now it's legal? And it's like, you don't understand what you're talking about, do you? you know, I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, that's
But
it.
such topics are not really widely spoken about in Japan, right?
Yeah, no.
I think average Japanese person knows surprisingly little about transgender or anything else on what's normal, right? That's
Yeah,
the
they
image I
don't.
got.
The thing is, the cool thing about being here is they don't actually they don't care. You know, like I can walk around Japan in like, you know, a Hello Kitty outfit or whatever, and they just look at you and go like, wow, he's weird, and they don't really bother you. If you did that shit in America, you'd probably get beaten and maybe even killed. You know, so it's nice that they don't bother you here when you're doing that stuff. And but also, what's nice is if it doesn't concern them, they don't care. You know, so like if you want to get married as a gay person, they've just made it legal in October, and the first gay couple actually got married in Tokyo.
Isn't that two women?
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the thing is they don't, like, if people want it, they'll say okay, yeah, and they just give it to you. And normal people don't care because it has nothing to do with them. They're not gonna. We don't have like religion like they do in America. We don't have like Christian.
Yeah, exactly. I never had that religious angle.
Yeah, we're Buddhist and Shinto, so we don't really think about like, you know, like the religious aspects of like, oh, you can't marry gays and all this. They're just people to us. We don't really care. And if you want to get married to a guy, go ahead, get married to a guy. We don't give a fuck. So that's kind of what's nice about living here is like really nobody gives a shit what you do.
But isn't there some cases when Japanese people take offense to anything that isn't normal as well?
Not really. The only thing that they do that is if you do something that's out of the ordinary for the culture, like walk into some house with shoes on, you know, things like that. Walk in the house with the shoes on, not address somebody properly in a business setting, you know, things like that. You know, these are just like cultural things that are things you're supposed to do. Well, you can do and dress however you want, as long as you continue to do those. Like if you want to be a woman, it's fine, as long as whatever you do in the society is the same thing that women do. You know, like you still have to treat people the way a woman would treat people, and then they're fine. You know, they don't care.
Japan seems like a nice place to be.
Let's see. And then what was the other thing we were talking about? I forget what we started.
Kyle said something, but I couldn't really hear what he said.
Yeah, I couldn't either. It was scratchy.
Oh, we were talking about math.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were talking about the Kramer's rule.
Well, the first thing we started on before you guys got here, I thought we'd take it back to that to see what you guys thought about the girl that assaulted the young boy because he had dreadlocks.
Oh, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah, people are strange, aren't they?
Yeah. She was basically a feminist, and she was trying to say that he was cultural appropriating because he was wearing dreadlocks. He was just some kid at a high school or maybe a college, I don't know, either way. And he was just walking around. She grabbed his arm, she assaulted him, and then claimed he was assaulting her. And he told her on the video, you see, she got mad at the end because she realized she was being videotaped and it was all on video, because obviously she was going to try to say like he assaulted her, and she couldn't do that now because it was on video. But he told her like, don't touch me, stop touching me, leave me alone, you know, I want to leave, that kind of stuff. So he was telling her basically that he didn't want to touch her, didn't want to have anything to do with her, and she was instigating everything. And therefore, if she later on tried to say like he assaulted me or he did something to me, it was all on video that it was all a lie, you know. So that's why you'll see in the video when she realized she was being videotaped on a cell phone, she got this look on her face like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
because you
Sorry,
know she was planning on doing some stuff. You know she was.
I mean, that's like the worst situation you could be in as a guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you get attacked by a woman, you can't really do anything. You can't hit her back.
Yeah. And there's many. The other thing is there's many cases of this in blacks past. They've had many like slave owners and stuff that slept with women and stuff. And there's many times in America and in Africa even where babies have been born of like a mother that's black and a father that's black and the baby's white. And then in many cases there's been like a white woman with a white guy that got married and they had a black baby because in her past she had blacks. So there's just because this guy has dreadlocks and he looks white doesn't mean doesn't have a black like family. His family may be black. You don't know.
Well,
You know?
I've been told by these people that I'm the racist for suggesting that I have black family members. I'm like, but I do. They are my family. How am I the racist here?
Exactly.
Like, this is an objective fact. My uncle, one of my uncles is black, and all his relatives are black. So therefore, I have a black family.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's impossible. You can't be related to him. I was like, have you never heard this thing called marriage? I was like, white people can marry black people. It's scary. I know.
Yeah.
Look, people should stop trying to like explain to these morons. If I was in that situation, right, and that woman was trying to do that to me, the guy that was stood right next to her, I will tell the fucker, listen, do you support her bullshit? Because I'm gonna knock you the fuck out, and I'll back that guy. I'll back the living daylights out of him. Because what people have got to understand is, people right in today's day and age, a lot of them are cowards. They try to portray that they're hard men and all of these sort of products. But as soon as you smash the living daylights out of the biggest, the baddest prick, everyone else just shuts the fuck up. And that woman, if I was that guy, I would have hit her in her throat. I would have hit straight in her throat and dropped her.
It's almost like that one guy who was on the subway and that girl slapped him and he fucking just pimp slapped that bitch.
Exactly.
Like without hesitation, just boosh.
My favorite video I've ever watched that I never expected to see some shit like that was that bus driver that had that girl that slapped him and he fucking like uppercutted her and literally took her off of her feet like 3 inches. It was awesome. And you actually heard it when he hit her. It went like clap. And I was like, whoa! I was like, he hit her like a man. He hit her like a dude. He didn't lay up. He was like, I'm gonna fucking.
He even said that. Yeah. He even said that, right? He's like, because someone's like, oh my god, you hit a woman, and he's like, well, if you want to fight like a man, you can get hit like a man, or some shit like that.
It was fucking awesome because she like slapped at him or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, bitch, you had it now." And he turned the bus off, stood up, and he came out there, and he brought his fist like all the way down from his knee, and like fucking clapped her as hard as he could in her fucking chin. It was awesome.
The thing is,
basically, here comes the fist of equality.
Yeah, exactly. If you want equality, here it comes, honey.
You don't want to fuck with the trend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, but what people don't realize is those are examples of terrorism. People are being terrorized. You might be a woman. It doesn't matter. It's terrorism. If you're on public transport and someone is making loud noise with their headphones, I will tell them, listen, turn the volume down. Why? Because you're disturbing me. You're terrifying me. The music is too loud. You're a terrorist. Because these are people might say this is extreme, but as I've told you guys before, I used to work in a prison. You don't take bullshit from a bunch of pussies, and especially when you know what they're saying just makes no sense. That's not what was happening here.
She like walked up to the front of the bus and she was hurling insults at the driver, and he said something to her like you're like basically kind of like your pussy stinks, or you're just some fucking whore or some shit like that. Basically telling her like, get the fuck back in your seat. I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
She kicked her off the bus.
She got mad and actually took a swing at him. And when she did that, he like stopped the bus, turned the bus off, and got up and was like, "Oh, bitch, you had it now." And then
but
he stood up
how
and just fucking uppercutted her and fucking knocked her out. And then he was going to throw her off the bus. And everybody on the bus, after he hit her, because they were like, oh, shit, he's going to fuck you up. And then after he hit her, they were like, oh, my God. And they turned into white knights. And then he literally picked her up like a sack of garbage and was going to throw her off the bus. It was fucking awesome.
He's well within his right to do so.
Yeah, it was great.
Because if you attack the bus driver, you're actually endangering everyone on that bus.
Yeah, he could have crashed the bus or something like that.
Yeah, he was driving at the time, and she was swinging at him.
This is why they have laws, very strict penalties for doing shit like that to basically prevent people from doing it. It scares the shit out of them due to the penalty for doing so.
Yeah, I hope he didn't lose his job. I'm hoping that guy got a promotion, because that's what I would have done. I would have gave him a promotion.
Oh, it kind of reminds me of the lesbian chick out here who's bus driver. She's my bus driver sometimes. She's cool. She usually drives late night, and she puts up with no bullshit whatsoever. She will kick the fuck out of you if you talk back. If she tells you to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up, right, you'll do it because she's already asked you once nicely.
That's Denver.
Yep. Oh yeah. People here do not fuck with the bus drivers here. If you do, you'll get the whole bus of people wanting to kick your ass. It's awesome.
Denver's a little bit like New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really funny. I have an immense amount of respect for her because I've actually seen her like kick the shit out of a guy who basically threatened her, and she's like, "You just did not fucking threaten me on this bus. I will fucking call the police, but I'm not even gonna do that because I can handle my own goddamn business." And fucking just
I'll call the police after.
By the fucking ear and throws him off the bus with his ear. I'm like, holy fuck! I was like, I have a new favorite person.
Yeah, exactly.
She's well within her right to do it because he's basically verbally assaulting her and distracting her from her job, endangering not only himself, the bus driver, but everyone else that she's responsible for, because that's part of her job. So she's like, "Fuck this! I can shut this the fuck down right now."
Yeah. What do you guys also think about something that I just did a video the other day on this? That it's something that I've noticed like coming into prevalence like the last like year or so, not even the last year, just the last like 6 months. There's all these girls. I watch a lot of like transgender women and stuff like that. I watch a lot of like other. It doesn't usually happen with guys, but it happens a lot with like girls. They're starting to like worry about what their haters are saying, and they're putting out videos like talking about like somebody said my makeup wasn't right, or my eyes didn't look good, or I don't make videos the way I used to make, and there's all these people that are haters, and they're actually literally like talking to their haters, which is something you should never do. You should never acknowledge your haters because that just.
It's the good old normal thing. It's like easier to be a victim when you don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
See, when they show when
you have nothing interesting to say, so I'm just gonna piss people off and be a victim.
Yeah.
See, when I get haters in my my live stream chats, sometimes I just tell them to fuck off. I'm very blunt about it. I'm like I'm not gonna give you fucking any quarter. I was like, you came here to be an asshole. Why am I gonna fucking give you any sort of semblance of respect? Fuck no.
Well, like I told that guy today before I blocked him, you know, he was like, you're awful, you're nasty, and all this kind of bullshit like that. And I just told him if I wanted my comeback, I'd wipe it off your chin. You know? And then a bunch of people after that was like, oh fuck, you know. So yeah, and then he said,
shots fired.
Yeah, exactly. And then he said a few other things, and I said, sure, honey, as soon as you take the dildo out of your ass, girly man. And then I went and blocked him, so he got all pissed off. You know. But yeah, a bunch of my people like that know I'm trans and know all that stuff. They just kind of like come to my. It's kind of cool. They come to my fucking like defense. Anytime somebody says something like that in the comments, they just start like, "You're a fucking dick," and "You fuck you. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here," and all this. It was awesome. So I have good subs. I like my subs.
Yeah, as a dom, it's good to have good subs.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
but
I
anyway,
agree with what
this whole thing sounds very similar to what Anita Sarkeesian does. I mean, she lies and pisses people off, and then she runs out and acts like a victim and asks for money.
Yep. Yeah.
This is what bullies do. I mean, they fucking pick on you, and then when you hit them back, oh look at me, and then you're forced to apologize for something that they started. And it's like, oh, it doesn't matter who starts it. I'm like, yes, it does actually when this is a repeated pattern of behavior.
Well, ego
it's clearly
might
endemic.
know about this. You might know this story. It happened not too long ago. Actually, I heard about it on TYT Network. There was a British TV star that was not a very famous TV star, but she was on a TV show in Britain on the BBC, and she was walking on a train platform, and some guy just bumped her arm.
Oh
And
yes.
she turned him into the police and said that he had assaulted her and stuck his fingers in her vagina.
Yeah.
For like a
and-
certain, he was very specific about the amount of time that he did this
Yeah.
for as well.
And the only thing that saved him from not going to prison for like 10 years was that they actually had a video camera on the platform that showed he came into contact with her just because she was walking by him, and he accidentally, like, she touched his arm and he accidentally hit her, and they actually touched for like less than a half a second.
I think that really pissed me off about that whole story is the fact that they're like, oh, we can't give out the victim's identity because she's like a quote-unquote famous person. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, fuck you. I want to know who the fuck this is. I want to see
Exactly.
if no, we're not going to protect the fucking people from like that. We should be protecting the people who are accused, if anything.
Exactly. That's why.
Yeah.
That's how the law should work. You should be protecting the
But is
accused.
there any,
not the
was there any
accuser.
punishment for her lying about it?
Oh, no, there was none.
No,
There was,
no.
there was
No.
Nice, right?
They didn't give her anything. She got
And she's
nothing.
she's like nearly 70 as well, man. It's like, man, God. It's,
Yeah.
You have
Some guy stuck his fingers in my pussy. No, nobody.
you
stuck
have
his
to
fingers
you
in
have
your
to
pussy
protect the
in 30 years.
accuser, because if you don't protect the accuser, you're not going to hit your quota for accusations. America's
Yeah,
run on
what's that?
accusations.
well, this happened in England, I believe. But yeah, I get your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Still be
about-
keeping enough people in prison.
about-
Well, the justice system's got to justify their existence.
well, as I've said to you guys,
They've got quotas, man.
as I've said to you guys many a times, I did some research not too long ago. Found out that, I know a lot of people say that the prison system is private, but I've actually done extensive research to back this up. And what's going on is, as I've said, men are the working class. Men are the slaves. Men are the ones that got to keep the cogs moving. So when a woman, you see, this whole halo bullshit of any woman can say whatever she wants, they're not going to question these women, number one, because society's known since the beginning of time that men have the physical attributes. They're the ones that will keep making the cogwheels carry on. So this is why the prison will be full of men. The women will say whatever. That golden uterus is death-defying. It's dangerous. But a lot of these guys worship this golden uterus.
Yeah, they're trying to make the argument that we should be closing women's prisons because women's didn't do nothing.
Right, exactly.
And that is basically the gist of their argument. It's they could have saved a lot of people a lot of hassle. They fucking simplified it down so that instead of all the rhetoric that goes with it.
Well, I like what you did last time, Frozen, because I think when I mentioned that, you put up a newspaper article that backed it up, because when I was working in the prison, Holloway Prison, they wanted to close it down. You see, yet again, they're trying to say that these women, it's due to no fault of their own. This is insanity.
A women's agency is a man's fault, basically.
Yeah, it's
Who's the sexist here, right? Just say it.
Yeah.
This is why I tell a lot of men: do not explain yourself to these women. I mean, even to the police officers, like, fuck it. There's no point of trying to rationalize. And I keep telling a lot of guys, a lot of these women are doing crazy stuff, and I keep exposing women. I have a few female friends of mine. They'll get on a recording. They'll say everything that I've said already exists. And I tell a lot of men, don't cower and don't feel sorry for this woman. I'm not the sort of guy a woman will ever put her hands on. If a woman put her hands on me, I will throw it in the nearest river. And what will happen is her boyfriend, her dad, they can get on in line as well. Because I love that sort of stuff.
Well, have you
Yeah,
guys
but
seen?
a lot of guys as well have really gotten into a hairy situation with a woman that is violent or just abusive or shit like that. They don't really understand, I think, as well.
Right. I'll tell you guys a
Oh,
story. I was 21 years old, and I was, had a few, women or whatever. So there was one particular one that I had. Now, what happened was I was doing music, producing music. I started my company at 19 or whatever. Anyway, she used to come round after a few hours of shagging and all of this sort of stuff. She wanted some more, but I wanted to produce music. Anyway, she knew I had other women. She used to get angry. So this particular day, I was a doorman back then. I was trying to get to work or whatever. I just finished shagging her or whatever. I had to get to work for 8 p.m. Anyway, we get into an argument. She starts crying all of this bollocks. When women cry, it means nothing to me. I was trying to get into my car. She wouldn't let me get into my car. I got into my car eventually. So she stands in front of my car. She stands in front of my car. Fuck you, bitch. So I start driving. Jumps on the bonnet. So I'm driving down the road with a woman in my car. I don't give a fuck.
one of my one of my male friends had tried that bullshit to stop a car. I'm like, you don't fucking jump in front of the car, bro.
Right.
They were-
So there was
It
one
was fucking great.
who was riding
Yep,
in
in front of a moving car, that's natural selection in progress.
Yeah, it's you win a Darwin Award, right?
So this is
Yeah,
one guy
exactly.
who was an asshole, right? His friend was driving at 35 miles per hour, and he went out the window, reached his hand out to slap a woman's butt. I think you imagine what happened next.
So what happened was, I did this because I wanted her to stop her madness, to shock her mind. So anyway, I drive down the road, I stopped the car, she was crying, screaming. So as soon as I stopped the car, I said, all right, have you learnt your lesson? She was crying. She looks up, and this woman slaps me. Oh my fucking God. Anyway, I drag her into the car, I put her into the car. So I'm driving to my workplace now. She keeps hitting me with a fucking handbag, right? So I had to backhand her in the car. I didn't want to hit her, but I had to backhand her. So there was a few people that saw this in their cars, and so I stopped the car on the high road, and I was trying to pull her out of the car to throw her on the side of the street. So a few manginas were there saying, "Oh, you're being out of order," and I told them, "Listen, come out of the car, and I'll knock you the fuck out, or just sit there and shut the fuck up." Anyway, so this was a mad ordeal. So I get to my workplace. She's still very shaken up. So I told her, listen, go into the disabled toilets and I'll meet you there in 5 minutes. So I went over there, had sex with her, and she was completely equalized. But I've experienced a lot of these things. So when I tell guys, listen, don't take the bullshit from these women. There's something up with them. Women now, they have this Cerberus mainframe. They think along the same lines. They're insane. That you can't deal with them in a rational way. You can't pontificate over their pussies. You can't try to reason with them. They have no reasoning. They weren't brought up to have reasoning. They are the priest class. A lot of guys got to realize this. If a woman pipes up with you, tell her to go and fuck herself. She'll respect you more for it. She'll probably want to have sex with you, whatever it is. But that's why I keep saying the things I say. Guys, you've got to realize these women are insane, and you can't reason with them.
Yeah, you've never been able to.
It's like most people won't respect a spineless coward. I mean, the same goes for women. I mean, they won't respect anyone that jumps through their hoops all the time.
Yeah, because white knight in form, that's what gets their shit wet. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a clip from The Simpsons where fucking Lisa asks Milhouse to do something, and people who don't watch The Simpsons don't know that fucking Milhouse has a massive crush on Lisa. So she I think it's like give a note to Nelson or some shit like that because she has a crush on him. It's like a love triangle thing, and fucking she's like, will you please give this note to Nelson in your class because you're in class with him? And he's like, it goes into his like internal monologue, and he's like, if you do everything she says, she's bound to respect you. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like Milhouse, you poor bastard.
You little tool.
I know. Dope. Milhouse is he's teaching young men the lessons they need to know through his pain. Because there's one where he even like starts getting into another girl, right, or some shit like that, and Lisa gets all butthurt and fucking he's like you're not happy when I try to get with you, and you're not happy when I try to get with someone else. Why do you want me to be miserable?
Because she's a woman.
Yeah.
She just wants her free attention back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you're talking to a tranny who steals their fucking attention away. I'm very well aware of that.
Women are just like men. They want what they can't have. So if you play hard to get with a woman, that's what makes them want to fuck you more.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's all you really have to do with a woman is just play hard to get. Act like you don't care, and like it doesn't matter if you go home with me tonight or not. If you want to fuck me, I don't really care. Whatever. If you want to, go ahead. If you don't, fuck off. If you do that, you'll get laid every night.
But the perils of that is a lot of guys, they're faking it till they make it.
Yeah.
When you make it, you'll realize soon that your emotions will be the better of you, and you become a simpy mangina.
They cave in right away.
I mean, for crying out loud. There was a video I saw not too long ago. Some of you might have seen it. This poor bastard, his wife was giving him a lap dance. The look on this guy's face.
Oh God, yes.
Have you seen that? Yeah, he was not having fun. What? And she said, true love, bitches. And I said, poor guy, look at him. Look at him. Do you see this? She was atrocious.
The look on his face is like indescribable. Just how mortified he is.
Was it like 5 minutes he had to go through that ordeal? And I'm thinking, Jesus. But yet again, did you see that Frozen? That shows you the insane mentality of women. Whereas you can see on a man's face, he's not having a good time. But in her mind, this is true love, bitches. We'll teach you how to true love. Come on.
See, I've been trying to figure out how this whole thing came together as well, because it's either like he brought it forward. He's like, hey, here's my thing. I would really like you to do a strip dance for me, not realizing what he's getting into. Right, the second this fucking actually happens, it's like, oh fuck, it's like meeting your heroes, or it's like she put it forward and she's like, hey, I have this fantasy. I want to be a stripper, but not in real life because it's only a fantasy. And she's like, let's do this. And then he agreed to it, but not realizing what he was getting into. He's thinking, oh yeah, my girlfriend wants to be a stripper here, because there's a lot of guys who are proud of the fact that other men look at them. You know what I mean? I don't fucking know how that works. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out the relationship dynamics before and certainly after that fucking whole ordeal happened.
He's not going anywhere. He's not going.
Yep. He's just eating dinner and not talking, saying shit because he's like, God, she's gonna bring it up. She's gonna bring it up. And she's like, hey, do you want another lap dance? Oh, fuck. What do I say?
I found that video traumatizing for myself. So I was like, how the fuck do you do this? How the fuck do you do that? And then actually, I'm doing another video in a couple of weeks' time called Why You Shouldn't Marry a Stripper. Now, I just did a new one called What I Learned from Strip Clubs, because I spent about 4 years in and out of strip clubs, because one of my friends, he was like, all he did was fuck strippers and all of this sort of stuff, and I was getting strippers back then, but a few guys that I knew married strippers, and they're not having a good time. They're not having a good time. They're not having a good time. They're getting raped.
I'm surprised you have to make a video about this. Isn't this like common knowledge? Don't marry strippers.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought this was common knowledge. I thought this was common knowledge. I thought another video I did, a conversation with a woman about blowjobs. I was telling some guys on a hangout, I said, listen, these women are predators. Some of these women will suck you off and then suck your friend off, and then they'll take anal. They love it. And these guys, no, you're being out of order to these women. So I thought that some of my speaking points are, old hats. But no, they're not. Some of these guys haven't had sex with it. They've never been there with it. They've never seen it.
Well, there was a guy that we were talking about earlier named Gus that's on Nadia's Hangouts, and he actually said that he thought it was disrespectful to come on a woman's face.
Oh, look at that. Even if you
What
are,
if she asks? What if she fucking demands it?
Yeah.
Come on my
It's
face, motherfucker.
disrespectful to do bukkake to a woman.
look, if I was on that Hangouts, I would have just clicked off and dropped the call. What sort of rubbish is that?
Yeah, he's kind of like a bombastic, windbag that likes to hear his own self talk, basically.
God, it is entertaining to watch, though. I will say that. I was like, at that point, just get the popcorn and just sit there and giggle. I'm sorry, what?
There's always something to argue about, if not.
Yeah.
I don't like arguing. That's pointless waste of time.
When I was like first started dating, I didn't have much success. I mean, nowadays I do. Now I fucking don't date women. It's remarkable what happens. But my point I was gonna make with this is there was one girl that was interested in me. I didn't know until much afterwards because I'm fucking oblivious to that shit, right? And she ended up dating my friend, so we all hung out and shit. And she asked me why I didn't date so often and whatnot. I was just like, yeah, I'm busy and fucking, I'm like the head of a household at 17, dude. I got shit to do, right? I'm trying to get my life in order, so I got time to be wasting on someone else's problems. And like, when she's seeing how I interact with women when I'm out, and she's like, you don't really fucking do shit for them or talk to them or nothing. I'm just like, yep, I don't fucking care. And this is way back then, like. So I mean, the next girl I was with after this fucking basically red-pilled the shit out of me. It was done. It was like, all right, Morpheus, fucking feed me that shit. Just hand him over. Write me a prescription, mate. Fucking.
Did you get that bad of a number on you?
But she even said, right, to me, she's like, you're doing the right thing though. I mean, you're being fucking, you're having standards and being picky and putting these bitches in their place. And she liked that about me. That's why she had That's why she wanted to talk to me, is because I was fucking like just zen the fuck out and completely. She didn't like the obliviousness because she wanted the attention. She didn't realize that was part of the whole thing. Is that she wanted all the benefits but none of the cons. It's like, well.
I've always found it really hard to put up with women's bullshit. I think it's because my mother was a really abusive asshole. So I kind of learned early on that women are fucking crazy sometimes.
Even my mom warned me about. Yeah, even my mom warned me about women's bullshit. She's like, women are people too, and you can't just let them fucking walk all over you. And my mom's saying that shit when I was really young, just to make sure I understand, that I don't idealize people. She had this thing about idealizing things. She really didn't like that. She made sure that I understood that ideals are they're a fantasy. They're a nice thing to have, but actually attaining them is almost impossible.
That's why I keep saying that I think that when it would be nice if like MGTOW style things were taught to young boys in schools, when they have the like sex ed, they should actually tell most boys like how life really is and what women are really after. And what it's really all about, so that these boys have a head up, so they don't like get a girl pregnant at like 17 or something, and end up not being able to do something with their life because they got some woman tagging off of them, using it as an ATM and a utility, because that's basically what men are in society, is utility.
That is a good idea. However, the white knights and women and feminists are just too strong of a force here in the U.S. Like, you will probably get assaulted for even suggesting that idea. I know, I tried.
Yeah, this is I was talking in a hangout last night about this very subject. Apparently, the YouTuber Willy Bumblebee she used to be a sex ed teacher, and she could not teach that shit. She basically had to teach abstinence only, and she's like, that's what fed her up about it. I'm talking on like third-party accounts. I'm actually going to get the opportunity to ask her in a hangout about that shit to confirm it. That'd be awesome. So it'd be nice to know her perspective on that shit, on how like sexual dynamics and how it's taught to people either through formal education or even informally through like family and friends and shit like that. I don't know.
That sounds gay.
Sounds very, very gay. She didn't. Apparently, she thinks I know something about sex. So, like, no.
Wait, what's gay?
Butt sex.
Butt
It's
sex.
just butt sex. Yeah. Very gay.
Butt sex.
Teeth is Yep, there we go. It begins.
Yeah.
How many calories have I burnt today? There you go. I have taken 10,112 steps. Fucking, this is why I look better than you women's. Saying. Just saying. I took it there.
Well, I don't think that counts for every woman. Let's just be fair here.
Not all of them, obviously, but the one that was directed at the bitches that fucking complain that I'm too goddamn skinny. It's like, yeah, I'm not too damn skinny. I'm fucking exactly as skinny as I like to be, and I work for it.
Yeah, I'd like to be skinnier. I'm hoping to lose weight.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a Wii U just so I could get that Wii Fit game, just so I could get into the habit of exercising regularly, so I continue to burn calories. I mean, it's not gonna.
People need to think about the shit they eat as well. People need to think a lot about the shit they eat as well.
Yeah.
So tons of calories.
Yeah, it's not just burning calories. I gotta do it in the right way as well. And also there's like dieting and shit like that. I take this whole transition thing very seriously. I made a whole like fucking plan and shit. Like this is why trainees are fucking way better. Just throwing that out there. Just saying. I have a fucking plan to keep my ass nice and big, but also firm.
Yeah.
But my waist very, very small. Hit me up, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, once I start getting on like hormones and medication and stuff, I'll start. I hope to have a job here pretty quickly, and then I'll start going to a gym and working out like 7 days a week.
Make sure you do them squats, darling. I'm just saying.
Squat gains.
Yep.
I used to have a really nice ass back back just a couple years ago actually, but like I say, since I came to Japan, I used to ride my bike like 40 miles a day when I was going to college, and I haven't been able to do that here because it's raining all the time. So I've been kind of like staying in my house and waiting for my refugee status, and I haven't been working or anything. So once I start working, I'll have to go do things and go places, and then when I come home, I'll go to the gym, or when I get up in the morning, I'll go to the gym. So I'll start working out every day. I just don't have the money to go to a gym, and since it rains here all the time, that's like the only thing I could do is really go to a gym.
It's expensive, isn't it?
The what?
Excuse me?
Gyms in Japan, they're kind of expensive, aren't they?
No. It's about the same as America.
Oh, okay.
About $100 a month or something, $150 a month or something.
Yeah, I pay 10 a month.
Yeah, I pay. I pay for the local rec centers here down in where I live. It gives me access to most of their facilities for like $20 a month.
Boy, you're doing Royal okay, man. Why you do that? Why you do that?
I should probably sign up for a gym. I don't really move around this anymore in my daily lives. I just try to stay healthy by having a decent diet instead.
Oh yeah. That's probably just better actually, because what goes in, comes out,
Yeah, exactly.
I
spend a lot of time trying to work on that you eat.
Yeah, I always say, come in, come out, right?
It's in my case, for when you transition from male to female, you have to do load-bearing exercises because you can lose bone density and you risk for getting like osteoporosis and shit like that. So I'm supposed to do like certain number of miles walking a day, and I just don't. And I'm trying to be more proactive about that. So that's why I decided to actually like say, hey, fuck it, I'm just going to go ahead and make this purchase.
Estrogen lowers the bone density, doesn't it?
Excuse me?
The female hormone, estrogen, it does lower bone density, doesn't it?
Yes, that's why I gotta be really careful about the dosages and shit like that. And I actually monitored. I don't do any of that under the table fucking bullshit. Because
I do recall reading something like that women who are on the pill had lower cases of breaking bones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet. They also have higher cases of fucking having mustaches, but just saying. Fucks with your
Funny
hormones.
What to do about it,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how all the guys knew who to bang in school. Is they look for the chicks with the like light mustaches, and they're like, "Yep, she's on the pill. Bang that bitch."
Risk free.
Yep. See, and they act like we don't fucking know. We don't know this shit. I actually told a girl. I used to work with a girl. I told her that she had a bigger mustache than mine. I really couldn't grow one, and she would not acknowledge it. And I'm like, "Bitch, I can see it from across the room." I was like, oh.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was like, because she had really dark hair, and that's why it just basically left a shadow on her upper lip. It was very evident. And she did not acknowledge it. She's like, no, she's like, I'm pretty, and I was like, yeah, you're pretty, except for that mustache, like Cesar Romero going on over there, covering up with makeup. Fucking, she hated that shit so much. She's like, women don't grow mustaches. I'm like, you're on the pill, aren't you? She's like, no. I'm like, yes, you are. I was like, fucking absolutely you are. Either that or you're the hairiest bitch I know. She got so fucking fucked. She also tried to deny that that the female orgasm wasn't a thing because she couldn't have one, so whatever.
Maybe she's one of those women that's been circumcised or something.
Fuck knows. She was really, really prudish, and one of those English people call them toffs.
Well, we had a girl in here last time, me and Ego actually, that there was 3 of us in here telling the girl that, which was Hermine, we were 3 of us were telling her that because we were circumcised, we were actually having problems having an orgasm, and that we actually, us personally, were doing like fake like comes just because we were tired of fucking a woman. And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to hear that. That doesn't even exist." And it was like, you're listening to three people telling you that they have done it.
Yeah, I've done it too.
It doesn't exist.
I've totally done this.
Yeah.
Women act like they're the only ones who can fake an orgasm. It's like,
exactly. They're like you can't fake an orgasm. And I was like,
You've never pulled out on a bitch, whipped the condom off, and then fucking spat on her back instead. Like, you've never done something.
That's a good one. I've never.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how you fake an orgasm as a man, dude. That way she can't see it. She just feels. She's like, oh, that's so hot. It's like, yeah, bitch, I know. It's like, I love it when you come on me. It's like, yeah, you fucking. Of course.
Well, that's basically the result of that women have a monopoly on the whole sex thing.
Yeah.
So they just really acknowledge their own end of that deal. That's the only thing that really matters.
Women having sex is just perceived value.
Yeah.
I think I just taught Ego something new. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
passing on
the back.
Passing
I guess
knowledge.
that only works though if you don't hawk a loogie first, you know.
Oh no! Fuck that, dude.
You start snorting.
Yeah, just pretend it's like part. Just pretend it's like part of your build-up, like as you start. Like, just fucking snag all over
her. You're like, I'm just about there, honey. That'd be so great, man.
Have you spoken to Hermione recently?
Yeah, I was actually just on a hangout yesterday with her.
So how is she? She seems all right, doesn't she? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. A bit misguided, but I'm sure me and Optimus Christ will put her in her place.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of like she's the thing you need to understand about her. That's kind of something really important to understand about her is she's actually a member of the Google police.
Oh God.
Yeah, she kind of wanders around to different hangouts and checks them out and makes sure they're not talking about anything that is offensive or whatever. And if they are, then she can actually have you banned from Google Plus forever. So you can't actually do any hangouts.
That sounds like some thought police shit.
Yeah, she's a member of Google Plus's staff, and she's actually kind of like an underground kind of go around and check out what everybody's doing. So that's kind of something where She's even if you put her in her place, you're never really going to put her in her place because she has a big head. You know, she thinks, you know, she's got some power in Google Plus, so she's not really going to care what you tell her.
Well, fair enough. It's a good thing that you said that, because really and truly, I don't like participating in anything that it's not on even footing.
Yeah.
Like, if someone wants to say, you know, someone wants to say whatever they want to say, they're entitled to it. And if I say what I want to say and you have a problem to it, well, you can just fuck right off, and I'll just see down on the situation, because there's no point in participating in tyranny. That's total tyranny, what you're saying there, Shi-Nu. Total. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it is. So I like her. She's a really kind of funny girl, but she's religious, and she says she's not a feminist, but she's, you know, she says she's a humanist, which, you know, same fucking thing, you know. So, and she'll appease you with saying things like about men, but then there's always the but, you know. There's always like, yes, men have this and blah blah blah, and she'll talk like that for 30 minutes, and then she'll say, but, you know. So every time you hear a but, that means everything that she just talked about was complete horse shit, and she doesn't care.
Yep, it's complete. It sounds like a platitude to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like lying.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm waiting to hear about a job here.
Yay. I'm hoping
This is maybe my job. I've got a friend that's working on my behalf as my manager for a shop that's been open for over 100 years here. It's a transgender gay bar in Osaka, and they're contacting me wanting me to work for them, and I guess it's a pretty big deal.
Fuck, man. Dude, I'm gonna have to move out there and get me a job, bitch. Hook it up.
Mom.
How are you living royal without a job? Or you want a better one?
But you do IT, right?
For me? Or
yeah.
Oh, me? Yes, I do development.
Yeah, but I think there's quite a lot of development jobs in Japan.
Yeah.
So we're heard anyway.
Yeah.
Some cases, some horror stories that they're kind of terribly outdated in the way they do things, but I guess that's just Japan overall.
Yeah, there's certain management models I don't like. I actually like the one that I do at the company I'm at now, which is basically get your shit done and just basically take care of business. Everything else is kind of just up for negotiation to some degree. It's pretty cool. I get to self-manage, self-schedule, and do my own shit. Now I start to be on all my meetings, so I do dictate roughly my schedule, but it's very, very rough. It's pretty awesome. I really, really enjoy not being micromanaged. I get more shit done. I have to answer fucking 20 people and say, you know, hey, what are you doing now? I'm like, I was doing the fucking thing, but now I have to talk to you.
And such just stupid managers who don't really understand the work at all.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I have really good managers and stuff like that. They understand. They're all like veterans, so they know what the fuck they're doing. They know how to run shit, and I'm just like, that's really appreciated when you get it and they get it, and it's like, oh. Who the fuck's eating
cereal?
Oh yeah.
Sounds like cereal.
What is Tifa though?
Yeah, I was gonna accuse Tifa of that, but she's gone.
Yeah, Tifa left. Yeah, Tifa left.
Yeah, she'll like eat apples right in the fucking microphone. I was like, come on, dude, really? Yeah. I was like, come on.
She's always sucking her pipe too. She's got that pipe that she sucks on. She's like, it's like, man.
See,
come on, dude.
I try to be more discreet about it. I like coughing the mic all the time, but whatever.
Rocking the green tea.
Green peas. Yeah.
Green tea.
Oh, green tea. Oh, I thought you said welcome to green peas. I was like, oh, what green tea?
No, fucking green tea is still a bit crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why some of these people don't come in. I've been putting the hangouts in the description of the video.
Oh.
And then I tell people, like, you can come in if you want. It's like right there in the description. It's the very top. like thing. If you click on that, you come into the Hangout, and
Yeah.
like there's people watching, and nobody does, so they're scared.
I've had someone.
I saw I don't think you posted a URL before in the description.
Yeah, it was posted before we went live.
Yeah, but you started doing that recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've been doing that. I've been doing that like the last 3 videos I've had. I think that's it. Because the thing is like, if you post it, you're going to end up getting people like Darwin's Deity, and like Hillbilly, Christian Hillbilly. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a dickweed. He's a dickweed too. Yeah, and there are these people that'll talk in platitudes and try to get you to like think that everything you believe in is wrong, and they never turn the mirror towards themselves to show that everything they're using against you can be used against them too, you know. And they just don't want to. They don't want to like reflect upon themselves. It's about you're an atheist, so you're wrong, you know.
That kind of sounds like the typical religious person to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when my dad only just recently found out I was an atheist, even though I've been not practicing any kind of religion for fucking well over a decade, right? And probably before that, if I'll be honest, because I'm just lazy. I like sleeping in on Sundays, and I don't like talking to people, so religion doesn't really satisfy any of those conditions. But he only just explicitly was told by me that I was atheist, because I told him, I came out to him, and that's why I had to tell him. He's like, oh, well, what about God? I'm like, fuck God, who gives a shit? I was like, which God am I apologizing to now? And he got really bent out of shape about it. He's like, well, you're going to hell and shit like that. I was like, good fucking hang out with Slayer and Hitler, right? This sounds like a fucking marvelous plan.
Like, we're going to hell, and we're going to have a great time over there, because I'm going to have lots of friends. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just securing a better house in hell, really, at this point.
Yeah.
How's this not...
Seriously.
There was a comedian.
All the cool shit's going to take place in hell.
Jim Jeffries.
Oh God, yes.
He was talking about like if you go to hell, why would Satan be mad at you? Because you're like cool to him. You're doing the thing he likes. You know, he's in hell, and he's the like, you know, god of hell or whatever, because he did something that God didn't like. So he's going to like you, you know. So he was talking about like when you get to hell, that he's going to give you like 4 prostitutes and a bag of coke and tell you go have fun. You know, so you know it doesn't make any sense why he's gonna basically do the same thing that God would do to you, and he's supposed to be anti-God. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
the whole relationship. He's going to punish you for not minding what God told you to do, when he got punished for not doing what God told him to do. So it doesn't make any sense. There's a contradiction there. He's going to like you if you're in hell because you did the same thing he did.
God.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like it's moronic, you know. And if you explain that to these people, they're like, "You're going to hell." It's like, well, great, I'll have a fun time, you know, to be warm, you know.
You have to pay any fucking heat bills, right?
Yeah, I don't like snow.
Some of my family members are like Jehovah's, so they're a little bit on the crazy side.
Yeah.
They usually only like run into my uncle, but he never really says anything about it. But his wife, she's the type of person that goes and knocks on people's doors and hands out the Tower magazine and dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
The other part of the
once in a while, like visiting the family, she'll say something stupid like, there could be like catastrophe or a crisis, something like that in some country or whatever, people died, and she'll say, "Oh yeah, it's because they don't follow the Lord."
Yeah, they have really dumb ideas like that. Yeah, they do the same thing here in Japan. They actually come to my door here in Japan too.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, you see them riding around Japan too in their little black pants with their little white shirt and their backpacks. Yeah, they ride around Japan trying to convince Japanese people to convert to Mormonism.
Are they just as creepy and cult-like in Japan as well?
Yeah.
The good thing about them is at least they're pleasant about it. Like I've never been treated like shit by a Mormon person who's trying to proselytize. I just say, hey, I'm not interested, and they're like, oh, okay,
There was a cool video. There was a cool video that I seen on my Facebook about that, where some guy was in England and some guys came to their door to talk to him about Mormonism, and he was like, yeah, sure, come in, and he showed him through to the back room, and he opened up the door, and they stepped out, and both of them fell 100 feet. Because it was it was awesome. It's great, It's like that's what you do when the politicians come over too, and they want to talk to you about being a politician and what they're going to do for you. You're like, oh yeah, come in this way. Show them out the back.
I was remembering the other part of the Jim Jeffries joke where you were talking about earlier, where he's talking about how Satan's the bigger man over God. Because God published a book talking all this shit about him, and Satan's like, you know what? These accusations are such bullshit. I'm not even going to talk about them. Right? I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to walk away. Right?
Yeah. If you're going to talk about me like that, I'm not even going to talk about it. He's like,
yeah. I love that.
Yeah. He's like, I don't remember Satan publishing a book. It's only God that's talking all kinds of shit about Satan. So maybe we want to hear Satan's side. Maybe there's a reason.
I also love the one where God's drunk at a party.
Yeah,
like, oh, I want you to sing songs about me.
Yeah, exactly. Like God would be like the worst friend to ever have when God shows up to the party. And he said the same thing in that same section about lesbians.
Oh yeah.
He's like, there's a reason. Have you ever met a gay guy that showed up to a party that everybody was like, oh, Jim's here. Oh, we're gonna have a great time. He said as soon as a feminist shows up, they're like a gay woman. They're automatically they're probably a feminist. And he's like, oh, she's here, and oh, she just said something about government. Oh, it's so awesome. It was so true.
I love how he pissed off the audience with that, and he pissed off the audience with talking shit about Christianity, but they didn't have a go at him for talking shit about Muslim people and lesbians and shit, and he calls them out on it. It was fucking great. I love that about him.
He was talking about shooting an Arab guy from the plane, from the helicopter and shit like that, and then he got to the end and he's like, I just wanted to point out that after all this stuff that I talked about and all this everything, this is what pissed you off? He's like, this is what got you to go, oh, it was so awesome, so hypocritical. And he's like next time
very Christian of you.
When you're being Christians or something like that. Think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, how very Christian of you to be compassionate towards the Muslims and the lesbians.
Yeah.
I was talking shit about, and that was fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's such a good.
Yeah, I love him. I like him, and I like that other guy from Britain that plays piano.
Oh, Tim Minchin, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. His fucking hair, man.
He's married to the same girl. He's like total white knight. He's married to the first girl he ever had sex with.
Oh, maybe she's really good at sucking that dick.
He married her.
How are you supposed to know if she's good or not if it's the only girl he's been with?
Yeah.
That's his choice. I mean,
yeah.
As long as do it for the right reasons, I don't care. I don't care either way. It doesn't affect me.
Then Ego left.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talking
I love him. He does that song about if you're a Catholic and you wanna. It's called kitty fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
The one about if you're gonna protect the kitty fuckers, then you're no better than the kitty fuckers, and and all that shit. It is an awesome song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gets really fucking passionate about it too. You can tell he's something he really cares about.
Yeah, he's like, fuck the motherfucker. It's like,
yeah,
it's cool. Fuck you, motherfucker. If you've ever loved a kitty fucker, that, and it's like, it's like a really cool way of saying it. It's like really cool.
Mm. Yeah, his rhymes are very clever.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. And the way he presents it is awesome. He has a whole orchestra as well that he hires or whatever.
Yeah.
And he talks shit to them. I love that.
Yeah.
He talks shit to the people he hires, and they just laugh it off because they're just like, yeah, whatever. So, good shit. he apologizes to him after, like right after he does it. It's just very, very, very intriguing show.
Well, I like how he does the stuff where he's like, there's a common misconception about me that I'm an atheist and that I don't believe in God, and I just want to say it's true. He's like, he'll say shit like that. Like, if you come here tonight and you think that I'm gonna be speaking about like all kinds of like atheist things, and I'm gonna be downing on God, and I just want to assure you right now, that's true. He's like, shit like that. It's so awesome. It's so great, you know.
I don't know. I typically like was it English comedians compared to American comedians. Well, there's a couple of them I like. Like I really like Bill Burr. Although it's really odd, my mom fucking loves Bill Burr. She's like she's one of his one of my favorites. And the bit she loves one of the most ones is the fucking gold digging whores section. And I was like, oh god, I was like, my mom's fucking so red pilled, it's unreal. I talked to her about like what MGTOW was, and she was like, oh, that sounds like an awesome idea. She's like, men should have a fucking thing that they can their own little fucking space where they can talk about men's issues. I was like, oh yeah, you'd be a fucking gender traitor, mom, in the New World Order. They would the blue and red haired, purple haired cunts are coming for you. And she's like, oh, I don't give a fuck. She's like, let them come. Love my mom.
That's a funny one. One of my subs, gentle fist. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Gentle fist brewer. Kind of a weird name.
He's a brewer who loves to gently fist you. I mean, it's
apparently, yeah. I don't know if there's any way to gently fist somebody, but okay.
You take it slowly
it's kind of like gently sticking the broom handle in your ass. I don't know.
Don't knock it too hard.
Yeah, he put on here, you must have a low IQ. I know better than to get in a window licking contest.
What?
If with regards to what? Just in general, or?
I have a video. My video is called "Feminist Lesbian Malaise," and somebody, the fist guy, put in, "Female sexual entitlement is real. It's not in any dictionary. Lesbian couples have much more higher divorce and separation rates than their male gays counterparts. Hypergamy doesn't care." And there were 6 comments on top of that. And one is this guy, what is his name? Itch Weird Sen, something, S-E-H-E-N. And he put, "The ignorance really sad." That's all he can come up with, I guess, from that. The ignorance really sad.
Is this your fan mail you're reading now?
Yeah. Apparently, yeah. And then the guy after that, he put, whose ignorance about what? And the guy put, "Figure it out. If you're smart enough or just have a fucking brain." And that's why he put, "You must have a low IQ. I know better than to get in a window licking contest." That's a good comeback. I like that.
I hate people like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, no, you need to figure out for yourself." It's like, no, you're the guy who came up with the problem. You need to also help come up with the solution, dude. You're the one, because before you came along, I was fucking coasting, mate. I was enjoying it. Now you fucked all that up, right? Well, work with me on this one, right? Help me, help you, help me, right?
Yeah. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Help me, help you. Help me, help you.
Yeah, it's kind of like the check your privilege shit. Okay, I check my privilege. Yeah, I had to work for everything that I fucking have, and from the fucking ground up, and I've had some really fucked up shit happen. So yeah, at this rate, you're actually more privileged than I am. You fucking spoiled little cunt. Fucking hate that shit. It just.
Privilege checking, see, that's just pure bullshit.
Oh yeah, it's
So
mostly
sad.
projection, not
Yep.
not
Yeah.
because brainwash motherfuckers to basically spout that crap who actually do have legitimate problems, you know. But it's largely projection. Like check your privilege as they go off and enjoy the car that their fucking parents bought them.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
yep. Like I had to convince my parents to give me a graduation gift for high school. It was 50 quid. I was like, sweet, I get 50 fucking quid, yeah. Like, I didn't get a fucking car like some of my fucking my friends did because they were obviously from well-to-do families, and I wasn't. So it's like yeah, I've actually had to work really, really hard.
Yeah.
My mom thanked me for that. She's like, she actually she never said thanks for all the shit I did when I graduated high school. Basically, going into the workforce and just becoming the main breadwinner for the household. She's like, oh, I never told you that. I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, I knew I had to do it because I was the oldest and my brother's a fucking, at the time was a perpetual fuck up, so someone's got to fucking get their shit together, right? Patriarchy.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the patriarchy.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Man.
this is why I'm still willing to
Patriarchy.
serve them. Yep, I'm still willing to serve the patriarchy into my transition by being one of their many ninja agents that sneaks into feet and let them know what's going on. They've got operatives everywhere. It's pretty fucking awesome. And plus free rape, and you can't turn down free rape, man.
Yeah, you gotta have free rape. To have the patriarchy culture, you know, you gotta have that free rape culture, you know. Yeah, you walk down the street and just rape girls at will. You just see a hot girl and you just throw her up against the wall and fuck the shit out of her just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, when you go to like the pharmacies, you got to use like the secret handshake when you're a trainee. That way, they know you remember the patriarchy. Because you go in there and ask for like roofies and just be like, hey, yeah, give me some roofies, and they're looking at you like, no, this is for the patriarchy only, and all of that. And it's like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm not gonna show you the handshake because see, I'm not smarter than that. I'm not showing you, but there is a secret handshake. You got to pay attention. You know, it's all a little secret. But see, there's also fake handshakes too. So just in case we think someone's looking, we'll do a fake one, and then that way we'll be like, oh yeah, I'll get them from you later. You know, just so you know, I'm with you, bro. Like it's a whole secret handshake language that we have in the patriarchy.
I've got more fan mail.
Oh.
On my newest video where I'm dressed at trans, and this is a person that's actually a normal commenter of mine, but my internet is slow. I'm using lots of bandwidth with doing, you know, the hangout at the same time. Come on.
It's the little comment that could. I think I can load.
But come on, man. Come on. It's so annoying. It takes like forever to when you're doing a hangout on my computer. It takes so long for me to do anything when I'm trying to move around that thing. And it just like I get a message at the top and it blinks and then it goes away and blinks and goes away while things are loading and fucking up. Jesus Christ. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Come on. Now it's like flashing and flashing.
Oh man. Jeez.
It's like, come on, bro. Just load. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Come on. It's 2016, bro. Come on.
It's the current year, dude.
Yeah. It's 2016. Come on, bro. This is retarded. My computer acts like 1997 with like AOL dial-up.
Connection over there, right?
What?
Excuse me?
Internet connections in Japan are generally kind of awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's not the connection, it's the computer. I had another computer that I had for quite a long time that I used while I was in college teaching. And I had all my stuff on it. I had my stuff for my recording studio and everything. And some dumbass that was a friend of mine, actually not a friend of mine, but I was teaching a woman's son guitar from college. And I came over here and she was still talking to me. And she said, I'll help you out with fixing your computer because I have a guy that fixed my computer remotely. And I was like, oh, that's great, because I had a problem with my computer for about 1.5 years or 2 years. It was getting slower and slower. So I was like, okay. So I loaded this program on my computer for him, and he gave it to me and stuff. I loaded it on my computer, and he got my computer remotely and did a bunch of stuff. And I told him I couldn't get my Sibelius to work on my computer even though I bought it. So he got it to work, and then I had split my hard drive, and I had Linux Ubuntu on one side of it, and I had Windows on the other. But my Windows was getting full, so I told him I wanted to delete the partition for Ubuntu, and put it on the other one, so that I could actually expand my hard drive, so that I could put more stuff on the Windows hard drive. Mm-hmm. So he went in and he deleted the Windows partition. So all of my bullshit was gone. And then I seen him do it, and I was like, oh, fuck. And then after he did it, he said, okay, now I'm going to go in like robotically or something like that. And he said, I'm going to restart your computer. And when he went to restart it, my computer never started up again.
Oh, yeah, because if you just go and delete the Windows...
So he destroyed my computer. So I had to end up going out and buying this one here in Japan, and it's an HP. And I bought this fucking HP computer, and when I bought it, immediately, as soon as I turned it on, it never worked like, it doesn't work like a new computer. It works like this works worse than the first laptop I ever got, which was in 1998, and it was an AOL dial-up computer. And that computer was faster than this computer.
Jeez. It's
fucking ridiculous.
You can't
always
just
had terrible experiences with HP products.
Yeah, it's
shit.
So I'll never buy another one, and if I can get a different computer when I get a little bit of money, I'll buy a new computer, and I will like take everything out of this computer. I'll put it in the other computer, and I will take this computer and I'll throw it off in the fucking ocean, because this is a piece of junk.
HP machine I had were constantly overheating. I had to send it in like 3 times to have them, change the fan in it, because it would wear out after like 3-4 months. Mm-hmm. That was fucking terrible.
Okay, here we go. And Frozen knows I haven't taken any HRT medication yet at all. I don't have any medication yet. Mm-hmm. This is Blood Dragon, and he's been like one of my people for a long time. Do those pills affect your mind? You sure look, act, and sound different. Maybe voice training videos on YouTube can assist you. There's plenty. I don't know. I wouldn't trust them, but I guess it's a conscious decision you can make as an adult. Make as an adult. As long as it doesn't affect content on YouTube, I don't care.
Okay. What? The fuck?
Yeah.
I've had people have a go at me because I don't want to get fucking vocal training done. It's expensive for what it is. It really is.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, your voice is too deep. I'm like, yeah, but people just think I'm a deep voice chick like my mom. She has a very deep voice too. In fact, when I talked to my aunt the first time over the phone as a chick, she thought I was my mom. She started talking to me like her sister, and I'm like,
I'm actually a singing coach, so I actually teach voice, and I will get a different voice when I start taking HRT, because what makes you have that kind of grumbly sound in your voice, and when you try to sound feminine and you're not taking hormones, you'll actually sound like an effeminate gay man. You won't sound like a woman. So to get that grumbly kind of manly sound out of your voice, you have to remove the testosterone. So you have to be on testosterone blockers first before you can actually make your voice sound feminine. And so I'm not even going to try until I get on hormones.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That actually makes a little bit of sense, because people have said over the course of time it has slightly shifted to be, my voice has been slightly more feminine, and they've actually used timestamps from my videos to prove that point. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, thank you.
You can see when girls are on the internet and they'll say like they're not on transgender medications yet or anything like that, and then they get on them, and you'll see like a year later they're sounding the same, but they lost that kind of manly tone to where it's less likely that they're going to be outed. When they're talking to people, you'll notice that it doesn't sound. They don't sound like an effeminate gay man. They sound a little bit like kind of a tomboy woman. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really have, and some of them are like perfect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
a lot of them do sound like really effeminate, and that's because of the testosterone. It actually affects your voice box. So if you get rid of that in your system, you actually lose that kind of grumbly sound that you get like a male voice. And you see people. There's actually a couple of my friends that have been on transgender medication and had to get off. And if you watch your videos, you can see them go from sounding feminine to sounding more masculine. And it's just because they got off the HRT medications. There's one girl right now that's a complete idiot that's been on HRT for like a year and a half, and now she's decided she wants to have children, so she's getting off HRT after a year and a half so that she can get her sperm and save it, which is...
She does realize that she basically, at that point, she's chemically castrated. There is really no going back.
I got on her video and everybody liked my comment. I had like 15 likes. A bunch of people put comments on there. I put, you do realize that after you've taken HRT medication for 6 months, you're sterile now for life.
There we go.
And that getting off your hormones is going to do nothing but actually fuck up your changes that you've had, because she's already done like laser hair removal and all these kind of things. And if you go off all your medication, you have to do it all over again because the testosterone will make all that shit come back.
Fuck that, dude. I'm almost done with like my arms and my legs and my chest.
You have to be on blockers all the time then.
Yeah.
Well, not if
you have your sex change. If you have your sex change, then you just have to take female hormones and you don't have to take T blockers anymore. But if you get off your hormones and your testosterone goes back up to normal, like you're a man, if you had a bunch of like hair removal on your face and on your arms and on your crotch and you've done a bunch of work, all that stuff comes back.
Yeah, I
do it all over
again.
Yeah, because in some cases you're going to pay like $8,000 to do like laser hair removal, and before you can get your sex change, you have to have I forget what it's called, the one that they make you do on your crotch. It's not laser hair removal; it's the other one.
Electrolysis?
You have to do electrolysis. But this is the thing. If you go back off your medication, all of it comes back and you have to do it all over again. So you end up having to spend like $16,000. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So expensive stuff.
Yeah, so by you wanting to have children and not making that step before, and you going off your medication, which means you can't even get it anyways because she's already been on it for a year and a half, she's not going to be able to get like anything from it. She's going to be sterile. So she's going to just end up going back on her medication and telling us later on that she couldn't get any sperm anyways. So she's going to get off it for like 2 or 3 months and then go back on it, and then she's going to have to spend a bunch of money.
See, this is one of the things that both my psychologist and my endocrinologist mentioned before I even started any kind of medication. Like, you do realize the risks of taking this and what it's going to do to your ability to have kids. And I'm like, yeah, I can't have kids anyway, so it doesn't. Because they asked me if I wanted to go through the procedures of freezing my sperm, and I'm like, it would be redundant, unless I wanted like save some so I can drink it later. Like, it's not really much point.
But is it like if you've been on the meds for some time that sperms stop, being produced, or is it just right away?
I'm not actually sure the mechanics of how that works, so I don't know a lot of the medical shit. I just know the higher level stuff, not the mechanics of how it works.
It's not that it actually stops being produced. It's actually that the sperm is actually defective. It's like it can't swim anymore. The tails get all like fucked up and they can't like move anymore. They don't move. So if you see them in a tray, you'll have sperm, but it'll all be kind of like going in a circle and it's kind of all retarded. It doesn't do anything anymore. So if you did come into a woman, they're just gonna be like, sitting there like retards.
You'd have to like
there's this place. They're never gonna be able to find the fucking like egg. They don't even know what they're doing anymore. So basically, that's why you still have sperm. You're still producing sperm, but it's not usable. You can't do anything with it, And you're not producing as much sperm as well. So
Oh yeah.
before, like when you came, you might come like 3 million sperms, and now you're only doing like 2 million, and all of them are worthless. You know, they're not going to do anything. So.
Good. Good. No, I'm not gonna be fucking leaving no bastard children on this fucking planet.
That's why I did the video on my channel 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I did a video about Bruce Jenner and about his two daughters that he had with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
In the video that he did with Diane Sawyer, was it Diane Sawyer?
I can't fucking remember.
I can't remember. It's the
Talking head number 20, dude.
Exactly. Whoever it was that he talked to, he told her that before he met Chris, he was on transgender medication, on HRT, for 5 years, almost 5 years, and then he went off the medication when he met her because he decided not to continue his transition. And he had breasts at the time. He said he had like A cup or B cup or some shit, or C or something. And then he had 2 daughters with Chris, which is impossible. And what that means is he was a cuckold. Those 2 daughters aren't genetically his. I'll guarantee that. Those kids aren't his. So he has this idea that those 2 daughters are his kids, but are actually some other dude's kids. And, you know, so I did a video on that. And I didn't get any hate, and I was kind of surprised. I think it was because it was true.
And you did. I've seen that video. You actually back it up pretty well.
Yeah. You know, I did 2 videos actually. I did one where I was showing, like, look at his kids that he had with his wives before. They looked like supermodels. And then look at his other 2 kids that ended up having a bunch of facial surgery so they could actually look like models. Like his daughter Kylie. If you look at her pictures before she did all the like facial surgery, she was just kind of a chubby girl. And she did all this facial surgery and got all this liposuction and all this stuff. And she did like hundreds of thousands of dollars of facial surgeries so that she could look like a supermodel, and now she's a model. But she didn't look like that before. But his kids looked like that. His kids look like freaking models with no surgery, you know.
And the only surgery I'm getting is the fucking the laser hair removal to be a model. So
Yeah.
fucking even have to go that far. Actually, I lie. I gotta get the fucking I gotta get the trachea shave as well.
Yeah.
I got my nose cauterized.
Yeah.
Hmm?
And your nuts taken. Your nuts taken.
I don't have to have that done. I want to get that done. It's
Yeah.
It's and well, actually, I don't have to get it. I have to get it done to complete my transition because taking androgen blockers kind of burns out your liver in the long run. I don't want to have to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty messed up.
Yeah. Taking Spyro was always a means to an end for me. It wasn't the path.
Don't a lot of transgender do hip surgery as well, or to make hips have a more female shape as well?
You can do shit like that.
You can. Usually they do like training, like they have like corset training, and there's a lot of girls that do that. They buy like a corset. There's a steel corset that you can buy that has like steel like things in it, and you buy basically 6 sizes below your size is what you look at. So if you're like a, you know, like a 34 or something, then you buy like a 28, and you basically you take it down 2 sizes, and you just train your body to be that hourglass shape.
That's what that's what I'm doing now, except I'm not going nearly as extreme. Because I'm already so petite. I'm only going down 1 size, but I have to be very, very strict about it because I'm only going down. I'm not going so extreme with it.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll take long.
You can train your body and train your ribs and train all that stuff to be an hourglass shape. And once you've your fat distribution will change and everything when you start taking hormones. So your fat starts moving around to like your hips and making your hips wider and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wear a corset constantly for like a couple of years, a lot of the fat distribution will get put in other places, and by doing that, when you take the corset off, you'll have an hourglass shape. And
in my case, because I work out, I fucking have sweet abs. It's fucking great. Like all my body fat is like on my ass and my tits. That's really it. And I do wear corsets fairly often.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this really ornate one I wear to work. It's when I first started wearing it, people were like, "Oh fuck me, really?" Because the trainee's got to come in wearing this really fucking crazy shit. And I was just like, "No, I was like, I can't wear the corsets like this under my clothes because they're very fucking evident that I'm wearing a corset. I might as well wear it over my clothes because of whatever." And it was like, I don't look slutty. I look professional. Fuck you. I was like, go complain about it then. They're like, no, not touching that with 10-foot poles. Like, yeah, fuck you.